for all the foofy, be nice and all that stuff, I'm an assassin. I want to kill all of you. You know, like I'm just very.
That's getting clipped.
You know,
for sure.
Please clip that in
and going
context.
straight to TikTok. Yo, am I an LA boy?
You're an elder. You're an elder.
You get only two strikes today. That's one.
He's coming.
Is that possible or no?
No, because you're not a boy. George is right.
An LA man. An LA man.
Yes, I think you are, Mike. Welcome back to. No, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go.
Oh, Gary's
the
here.
Guess here. Oh, he came with a squad.
You fit the description. That's what I'll say. You're wearing the right shoes that LA men wear. Welcome back to Impulsive, the number one podcast in the world. Thank you guys for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing.
Thanks for really listening.
If you do listen, why? Why?
What's wrong,
Dude, I love the Scooby-Doo shirt you got going on. You're gonna go fight crime over there? You got Shaggy next to you? Well, you look Shaggy.
Just calm down. Gary, take a seat.
Hey,
welcome to our podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Gary Vaynerchuk. He's here in Puerto Rico. The whole Gary Vee team. Good to see you, bro.
Hey, brother.
How are you?
How are you? Good to see you, bro.
What's up, bro? What's up? How are you? What's up? So three team members on Gary Vee side?
Yes.
Is that the whole squad?
In real life?
The IRL team?
No, it's way uglier than that. Way more.
It's a good looking group of lads.
They're extremely attractive. Dustin's like 54 and he looks like 16.
No way.
Same.
Dustin,
Are you really 54?
No, how old are you, Dust? Dust, how old are you? He's 37.
Same with
guys.
Mike.
Let's go, bro.
But Mike looks 37.
No, Mike doesn't look 37. Mike looks good too, but Dustin can pass for a weird number.
Do you drink or do any smoking? Or you do?
He does everything wrong.
But you
I'm
look.
trying to sell you on a book,
The
bro.
skin
Just
looks
don't-
good. This guy over here looks like he could be your lacrosse manager. Like,
he's the
simply for lacrosse. Just that's it.
Pickleball. Strictly pickleball.
Are you from Fairfield County, Connecticut? Jersey, let's go. I was close.
Of course
I was
you are.
close.
Dude, Gary, welcome.
Thank you.
Came to Puerto Rico.
I did.
Holy shit. Why?
Good to see him. I had a speech. I actually told you this the other day, but obviously we're doing. I'm speaking so little now because the Vee Friends thing has got me so busy. Now I've got two big things that I have to manage. So the content, book writing, speeches is kind of what falls by the wayside with Vee Friends explosion.
Yeah.
But it literally we have a speaking bureau in VaynerX, Vayner Speakers, and they're devastated because I was their cash cow. So Zach is still sending stuff to me all the time. And it's, comes across, it says Puerto Rico. And I'm like, you know what? All those fuckers are down there.
Yeah.
They're all doing some shit down there. I'm not gonna get down there any other way. So fuck it. Let me do it.
Sick.
So I'm glad this worked out.
All
Yeah,
those
me too.
fuckers.
Yeah, and you're right that we are all fuckers and we're all down here. Thank God, by the way. We've been trying to get you on for forever.
I'm really happy to be here. Congrats, you guys. You guys have really put together a show that really fucking matters. A lot of people love it, learn from it.
Yeah, we don't get it.
You do get it. You guys have real talent. You guys have real chemistry, which is the real fucking punchline of something like this. And it's cool to watch you guys build step by step.
Thanks,
Hey,
bro.
thanks, brother.
Hopefully we get some good clips. I want to be on your Instagram page of you
Done.
dropping knowledge.
Done.
I see him. You have so much content.
Yeah, I think, it's fun to have D-Rock here because he was such a beginning part of that journey with me many years ago. 7 or 8 years ago, I was like, fuck, this is it. I mean, obviously you and I met so early on in your journey, and that was probably about a year, 18 months before you and I met. I was like, okay, this is about to shift. Like whomever and whatever companies do best on really understanding not only how to be on these platforms, but be good at all of them. Going back to 2006, I was good at YouTube before YouTube was a thing. Twitter was huge for me back in 2007. I was really good at that. That's how my brain worked. But, it became a game of like, it's why Vine was so obvious to me. It was every platform, who understands it, your skill set worked on Vine that was much hard. You wouldn't have done that on Twitter back then.
Couldn't have. No.
Correct. So it became a game of let's be the best in the world at contextual creative per platform. And because I had an agency that was doing that work as well, it was a flywheel. I had to figure it out, scale it to the brands, vice versa.
Was that the genesis of VaynerMedia?
The genesis of VaynerMedia was AJ, my brother, was graduating college, and we wanted to be in business together. And my brother did not want to work for my dad in the wine store. And it was just a ticking time bomb. And it was going to be fantasy sports. It was going to be deal of the day. We almost built DraftKings. We almost built Groupon. But we picked something way worse.
Media.
But what it was at that time already in 09, I remember talking to AJ. I'm like, listen, I've got a feel of this thing. This is going to be the fucking thing. And I remember this line. I was like, radio was the fucking dominant source of information and content and marketing in the world. Somebody invented the television. It fucking built. And then there was a crossing point when NAP became the thing. The internet is killing it. But this new thing, social media, is an advancement of the internet that's different than the last 15 years. That was more about information. This was more about people, content. You know, it was just so entertaining. It was so obvious to me what was happening. It was like, let's build a company that helps the biggest brands because they don't know what
Nothing.
AJ's computer, literally AJ's laptop in 2009 set up Pepsi's Twitter account, the NHL's Twitter and Facebook, Campbell's Soup. Like it was, you can't even imagine. It's kind of like NFTs now, right?
The Wild West.
It was Wild West for social.
Yep.
I saw Wild West e-commerce in 96. I saw blogging. I saw it all happen. Being 46 really is that prime age to see everything because it all happened when you were like 18, 19, 20 and then just happened for the last 25 years. So we're like, let's figure this out. They have money. I didn't have money because my dad never paid me a lot of money building his business. So we needed to do something that made money. I didn't want to raise money. It was hard to raise money. The economy just collapsed. So we're like, let's do a service business because we'll get paid. We'll learn. And fucking 13 years later, we're 1,500 employees globally. It's a big ass company.
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow.
I don't know how many people know your and our history, which is absurd. I don't even know if you guys know this. When I was 18 years old, I entered a competition that was hosted by Grape Story to make a commercial for, I believe it was Virgin Mobile on Vine. It was a user generated content contest. So whoever could make the best commercial would be flown out to New York and potentially be signed by VaynerMedia.
It was literally so Virgin was a VaynerMedia client. Me and Jerome Jar, for everybody's listening, I'm sure a lot of those people know that if they're OG Viners. We started an agency called Grape Story to represent Viners. And the marketing campaign was find the next Vine superstar.
Yeah.
On the record, I think we fucking drilled it. Fucking drilled it. I mean, out of all the fucking people that we could have picked,
I can't believe it.
You've made me look very good on that one.
Yeah, dude.
How big were you on the platform?
I won the contest, bro. I had 18,000 followers.
Oh shit! So you were like a baby.
Dog. Gary's like a proper day one.
Wow.
Like way before you, Bucko.
Oh Jesus! You have to.
You're nice.
Jesus
No, but
Christ.
what's interesting about it was Jerome deserves all the credit. He got it down to 3, and he's like, these 3. And I remember walking into the office at 3:15, our last office before the one we're in now, and I watched him, and I was like, that kid's got it.
That's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. I mean, watching you and like we were talking about you when we landed here, and I was like, dude, did anybody see what fucking Logan did in WrestleMania? He's like a proper, he's a proper athlete.
That's so weird.
I was like, that fucking split jump. I'm like I don't know, for some reason, like the Floyd, all the crazy things you do, there's something about that split jump that I was like, dude, he's really got it.
Yeah, I got up there.
I was telling them that you're gonna, that I think that platform for you is a worthwhile debate because I was like, look, that platform, he could be like a mix between The Rock and Will Ferrell after this. He could do this for 2, 3, 4 years, and I bet you he can go and fucking win Academy Awards and do big movies. I mean, you've gone on to do real shit, and you know it's fun. Like for me, Gunna, or Charlie D'Amelio, or who was further along than Gunna and you, or everything, NFTs, Twitter, Facebook. Like my career has been around just intuition.
I was going to say your intuition and your vision is disgustingly accurate. I've bragged about getting to know you just because being your friend has yielded such amazing results for my life.
Thank you,
And it's interesting because it's not like you're not silver plattering anything. You just say something. It's like a nod, a subtle nod, and then one can do what they want with it. My whole Pokemon craze was kickstarted by you, literally by you, because I had a call with you and you go, you should look into this a little bit. Just do a little bit of research. I did. I got addicted, and now it's like a major part of my brand. Like, look around how much Pokemon is on the wall.
The thing with you, and and why I wanted to give you guys compliments, because one of the things I do for a living is just watch. Like, it's insane how much I know about what people are doing, even though I've never spent time with them. I'm just watching. I'm trying to understand why culture likes something, why the world is interested, not interested. Why was this cool? Why is this not cool anymore? Like, me breaking down why women want to wear like mom jeans as a cool trend is like how my brain works. Like, why is this candy going to work? Why are these beverages going to work? So watching you guys has been a lot of fun for me, because I like watching the podcasts that roll, because it's very, very impactful on both the podcast and the micro pieces of content, because the model that we absolutely pioneered is now the model. Do long form, chop it up,
Clips,
right?
yeah.
100%. You, though, the reason I've met a lot of you along the way. There's been a lot of people that looked exactly like you, tons of potential, the right ingredients, but a lot of people don't know how to cook that meal. The thing with you that I really admire, and that I don't think is obvious to anybody unless they really know you, is you fucking work.
Hardest out of everyone.
It's
He's the
real.
hardest working person.
Like, when I tell, like, it's fun to, one of the reasons I like reaching out to you is it's fun because I know you're going to put in the work. Like, it's not fun to tell somebody who is not. It's just a waste of 3 minutes. These are not very long interactions. I'm like, hey, pay attention to this.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago,
Please.
I had this commercial that I put out for this thing we were working on. It was like a 30-second thing. It took him like an hour to work on it, because I told him exactly what I want. We're very good at working together.
Yeah.
Logan hits me up and goes, hey, I need Reed to edit this. And I turn to him and I go, buddy, this is going to take you all day. And he goes, nah, bro, it's 30 seconds. I go, all day. I go, this guy is going to jump down your throat. Dude, I walked in. I swear to God, I can't make this up. And Reed will what? He's like this. He's like shaking. And I walked in. I'm like, you good? He goes, dude, I'm just scared. He goes, what if he doesn't like it? What if he gives more notes? I go, bro, this is going to happen when you work with Logan. Take your expectations and shit on him, because he's going to.
No, he really, I've seen it. I've watched the journey, sometimes close, sometimes very far away, and everything in between. Look, you've got a lot of creative skill sets, and you've got great work ethic, and there's very little confusion to me to why you're in the spot you're in.
Well, I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you for gassing me up. I got to cut it eventually. Hey, today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Live events are finally back. We're excited, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, concerts, MMA, or festivals. SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. SeatGeek is the absolute best place to buy tickets. Got the app on our phone here. There's definitely a few UFC fights coming up, so I definitely want to check it out. Might be a good idea to start searching the app for tickets right now. They rate every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Green means good, red means bad, and we've got a hookup for you. Use the code Logan for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That is $20 off your first purchase with the promo code Logan. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app.
I'll do it.
Now back to the show. I do want to ask a question about hard work.
Yep.
Because it does seem so formulaic. Like, everyone who's successful will tell you the same exact thing. But what is it about, like, how do you find that drive to do that hard work? And especially even just hanging with you that little bit in New York, that last round, like, you are literally always working. And I asked you, like, when do you have fun? How do you balance that work and play life?
The answer, you got to the answer before I was able to jump in. I don't think anybody can work hard unless they like it. I was the least hard working student in the history of this fucking country. I got D's and F's for real. Like, I'm so pumped we were able to get my report card from high school a couple years ago so I could put it out, because like when I was saying that, I could tell that people thought I was getting C's. I was like, no, D's, because you actually have to try to get D's and F's. And what I mean by that is you have to completely completely go all in on never paying attention and never doing anything, which is exactly what I accomplished.
That crushes
before
my
you.
soul because I tried my hardest. And then guess what, bro? D's and F's, bro. But I wasn't there like, no, fuck this. I was like, dude, I got my dad's gonna beat my ass, bro.
So there's a really tricky part to this whole thing in my mind, which is why I love that artists are in a different place now with NFT land. Comedians or people with like what you were affected by with Vine, long tail models for Instagram. There's genres that come along that really work for certain people, right? For me, the macro of that is entrepreneurship. I was selling lemonade and shoveling snow and washing cars and selling baseball cards every day of my childhood or every other day in between playing sports because it was more fun for me than anything else I could do.
Yep.
On a normal summer day when I was 11 years old, and I grew up in the 80s, like we went outside. You would just go outside and play. And like, you know, some people, like I had friends, this will make sense to a lot of people. Oh, Dustin, I had several friends who were like very like dirt bike, like they were like those skater dirt bike kicks, and nothing was more fun for them to like drive down like the race. We had train tracks and like do the dirt bike thing. For me, I couldn't even give a second to that. But ringing people's doorbells and like ding dong, like, can I wash your car for $5 was like the greatest thing that ever happened. To me.
Really?
Yeah. So for me, it's really easy. And I see it in others. What's awesome now with the internet is entrepreneurship is so much more creative. I think without the creative lens, you wouldn't have worked as hard if it was like pure entrepreneur. I was like pure, like I'm a salesman. I like it. I like the sales part. I like the operations part. So I have big companies. I like to operate. But now there's so many options for the people that are watching that like they don't like their job. And like, that's just part of like making a binary decision of, are you willing to risk the upfront for the long-term happiness? Most people are stuck because they live within the means of their salary and they've got debt and they're like stuck in a hamster wheel. And the only way to get out is to downgrade your optics. Worse car, worse apartment, worse year or 2 or 3 in your trips and your nightlife. And I'm very empathetic that for a lot of people, they can't make that move. They can't move out of Manhattan and move an hour and a half away in Jersey or Connecticut.
But it's a very important move because
It's a very important
I've always
move.
talked about it and being humble in your purchases.
It's hard.
It
for
is,
people.
but it's so fucking
It
important.
works.
I think
works.
it weeds out posers in my opinion,
Yeah.
because I look around a lot of people that are in my industry and I'm watching them hop out of these cars, have these jewelers, have these clothes, and I'm like, man, like you're saving nothing for like the future. You're not investing anything. Like they want to make sure people know that they're killing it. And I've always been on the opposite. I don't care what your opinion of me is.
Yeah.
I think I grew up being hated so much that even people
the best.
liking me in a little
It's the
bit,
best.
it's cool. I'm like, oh, great. People kind of like my shit. Like when I read hate comments, people are like, oh, this guy, he thinks he's funny, but his stand-up thing's gonna suck. And I'm like, dude, he believes I'm gonna do a stand-up show. Like I really take the best thing out of everything. And I think once you look at it from that point of view, you can't lose. So instead of buying like Louis Vuitton shoes, put that to your rent and then go invest that money into something you like.
I just have a lot of compassion for the world we now live in. It's incredibly driven by insecurity and short-term needs, magnified by the tools that allow people to execute on those feelings. People have been insecure their whole life. Yeah. Like the world's always had insecure people. Those people just didn't have the outlet of using social media to keep creating more makeup for their insecurity. So it becomes a hamster wheel of it. This is why having real conversations is very important, because there's a lot of people out there that if they just shift their head and look at the world from a different perspective, they can be in a much happier place. And I take on that vibe.
There's many reasons that you're you and that you're successful, and even just what you iterated just now that I think separates you from most CEOs or boss people is that your emotional intelligence is incredibly high. Your compassion for people, your understanding for people. I've even come to you personally about how to deal with certain stuff. And even I remember after Japan, you were one of the first people to call me, and like, man, that goes a long way. That goes forever. you know, just because I made a huge error, but it wasn't a reflection of my character, who I actually was. And getting that call from you meant so much. And even recently with the Game Boy resin table I made, and I was getting hate online for it. And I go, Gary, what do I do here? Like, how do you handle this? And your response was like, empathy for those who feel the need to tear down other people's art. Like, what's happening in your life that you're so hurt that you feel the need to just rip?
What's so I'm sitting here almost like in a meta situation where I'm like, man, this show, this platform, the enormous amount of attention look, I gravitate towards youth culture. I love that person is so still in the game. You know, I love hanging out with OGs. My team knows, like, I love 70-year-olds. D-Rock is literally actively in the process of booking interviews of 90-year-olds for content that I want to do.
Who do you go to for that? Like
we're randomly meeting people. Like, we were at this breakfast the other day, and he's like, my grandpa's 90, and I'm like, D-Rock, you're going to Rhode Island. Like, really? So I'm very passionate and fascinated by different genres, but the youth culture is insane. And as you're talking, I'm like, this is fucking it, man. This is the beginning pieces. We're starting to change this. We're starting to have, there was nobody 3 years ago saying, oh, I got haters, let me have compassion for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 6 months ago. But I pounded it. And it's just truth. Just think about the concept of needing to hurt someone else just to give you a second of escapism from your own pain. Just think about it. I just don't know how not to feel that for others. And, you know, I think that we need to have that combo, because for the people that are creating and are making entertainment, escapism, information, you know, it's really hard to get that level of hate. It's hard, no matter how strong you are. No matter, I'm very similar. Like, the whole world always told me I was going to lose, except for my mom. Thus, I'm like, good. You know, like, nothing phases me.
I just know who I am. When I go to bed, I'm really proud of who I am.
Yeah, I
like,
totally
it really
get that.
doesn't. I don't really care, because they don't walk with me. They don't know my journey. I was talking to this kid. I'm not going to name who he is, because he's coming up in the social media realm. And he told me, he goes, bro, it's very hard for me to figure out who's in my life because they want to be here versus what they need from me. And he goes, and it's starting to get really uncomfortable when it comes to women. He goes, like, I feel so insecure all the time.
Yep.
And he goes, how do you walk into these rooms and change people's, like, minds, opinions, hearts? And I said, I've been in this game for a little bit. Like, I'm a baby in it. And I just learned now, when I walk in the room, the goal is not to turn everybody's heart. It's to make sure mine doesn't change. So when I walk into this room, I want to set an example by just no talking, just my actions, for people to call me and ask me about that stuff. So it's a really, really tough game in every genre that you're in. And I think the best thing you could do is really, really love yourself. Start with loving yourself and loving your family. And then after that, you're going to be able to love other people.
And for everybody who's listening, because I've said that so many times, and I've read all the DMs and emails and messages for the last almost 20 years now, a lot of people just now, as you were perfectly saying that, said, but I don't love myself. And this is a very important thing for everybody to hear. This is something I spend a lot of time thinking about. If you are listening or watching right now, actually saying, I don't love myself, you have to remember that somebody else put that inside of you. Your mom or dad, most likely, or maybe a grandparent, they put that inside of you because they didn't love themselves. And, you know, a lot of people get mad at their folks, and I try to remind them, your grandparents made your parents. Like, there's always that next person in the family tree. And so I think that we're starting to get into more interesting, while everyone's like, social media sucks in the world, I'm actually watching and I'm like, I don't know. I think shit's getting a little bit interesting.
We talked about this last week about the benefits versus the shortcut. This dog is out of fucking
By the way, the
control.
dog is doing great.
No, he's chewing the wires. The benefits versus the shortcomings of social media, and if it's a net positive or net negative. But I wanted to ask you this. Do you think there's more benefit to an individual who's facing criticism, finding a way to be empathetic with the criticizers, be empathetic with the haters, or their ability to put on the blinders that every CEO
number one.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my question to you is this:
because
like,
that's scalable.
Empathy for other people.
Yeah. The other one is holding your breath and you're going to give.
You really think so? Because I think
do.
there's a lot of people out there like who are able to just be like, dude, like your criticism is so worthless and it's so uninformed and uneducated. Like that's where I've tried to get myself.
I get it. By the way, there's a lot of, there's, you know how it is, right? Like it's like everything in our society, red, blue, black, white. It's there's moments in time where that works. I mean, I do it all. Like I'm thrilled to be like, if you actually knew what was running through my mind sometimes when I'm getting shit on, I'm like, man, if you're mad at me now, watch what the fuck I'm going to put down your throat the next decade, you motherfucker. Like, you know, like I can get very competitive that way too, there's no question that actually being like, man, this person's hurt.
But then acting upon it as well and be like, yo, listen, like, I know you told me that I'm too busy sucking a cock right now, like, and you're 12. Like, but I feel like you're going through some shit. Let's talk about it. Because bro, like, I'm in the middle of shooting content here. Now I got to talk to this 12-year-old from Iowa about why he thinks I suck too much cock, which I don't suck cock, Gary. Like, do you know what I'm getting at right now?
I get it. So, brother, I get it so much. The amount of cock I've sucked on DM is profound.
Like, where does the empathy end? It was the same thing with him in the fucking Game Boy table. I'm like, dude, like, you're gonna sit there and be like, listen, man, I know I heard about your sister and how she has, you know, early onset dementia. Like, how do you start to do that?
Easy. You add another element to the equation and you think about the concept of gratitude. You have to understand, you can actually completely, this has happened to me at nauseam. This happened the other day in the car. A guy fucking ripped me heavy. I gave a response. He DM'd me. He's like, I just got back from Afghanistan. I have real PTSD. Like, it was a real, he's like, you don't understand. He ended with something that I don't even want to, like, it's really fucking intense out here. And so what I would say is, as a fellow human being, one that, by the way, is fucking doing it. You're fucking doing it, right? Like, I promise you, 19-year-old you, looking at what you've been doing the last 7 or 8 years, is fucking happy.
He's surprised, man. He's like, damn, you made it past 26. Holy shit.
So 3 minutes a day, 9 minutes a week, 16 minutes a month. Do I think that you can decide to reply to 3 people, one of which that will completely change the framework of how they see the world? Because these kids out here think the world sucks and everything sucks and nobody gives a fuck. And you give one fuck one time. And by the way, I'm telling you, and I know he knows, I know, like, I'm telling you, it will fucking build, it will be beneficial for you.
No.
Yeah,
and I do,
I love your mindset.
and I do a lot of it, but I found myself trying to cultivate the relationships that provide themselves in a positive way.
By the way,
because the message I get, like, yo, your book changed my life.
Listen,
I respond to those people as opposed to, yo,
listen,
like,
you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
I feel like I had to calibrate 7 or 8 years ago to be a little bit more thoughtful because I was only feeding.
Got it.
Because I have so much to give. I was like, so I think that's right. But I think you need to give some deposits to that. Mm-hmm. I think it'll bring benefit. Sure. It'll round you out. I'm sorry?
They're broken.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just, honestly, it's just nice.
Yeah.
By the way, you know this. I don't have to tell you this. 93% of them want to be you more than life itself.
Oh, when you respond to them about what they say, they automatic. I'm your biggest fan. I love what you do.
Yeah, they're just having a bad day.
Yeah.
I like to reflect to make sure I'm always being a better person. And all the times that I kind of cringe on decisions I made or like situations I put myself in or relationships I broke, it was always 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 times, it was always when I was hurting.
100%.
So when I was like really, really, really upset or jealous or insecure, that's when the ugliness comes out of me. Always. And so when I'm getting that, I'm like, oh, this guy's hurting.
100%.
And I know what that feels like. I'm going to, so if they're giving me hate, they can't play that game of tennis with me if I put my racket down. So then it's over. So now if I just played love with them, it's either two things are going to happen. They're going to walk away or they're going to be like, all right, he's giving me the time of day that nobody in my life is.
Yeah, I think that's right.
No, absolutely.
This episode of Impulsive is brought to you by Dr. Squatch. Dr. Squatch is changing.
Let's get the product.
Do we have it? I'm running it. I'm running it, dude. Dr. Squatch is changing the way men approach personal care with high-performance natural products that smell amazing and will have you feeling and looking your best. Their products will help you feel and smell like a man and smell like a champion. With Dr. Squatch, never have another boring shower or routine again because who likes boring? No one.
You?
Here's my favorite part. Dr. Squatch's soaps are made in the USA, only using the finest ingredients Mother Nature has to offer. In fact, all of their products are at least 98% natural in origin.
No, that's so many accents.
Other generic body washes have harsh chemicals and harmful synthetics. Yuck. They've got an easy subscription plan and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you use Dr. Squatch and can honestly say their products are not the best you've ever used,
You're a liar.
They'll send your money back, no questions asked. Ditch your shit products and get some Dr. Squatch. New customers get 20% off orders, $20 or more using my code DSQ Impulsive. Now back to the show. Are you religious?
So I'm not, so I was born in the Soviet Union. And so a lot of people don't know this, but in communism in the USSR, religion was outlawed.
All religion.
All religion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's only about the state.
That's right. And so a lot of people don't realize this about the history of the USSR, which was different than other places in the world. Like China, USSR, Cuba, they all had their like slight variations. So my great grandfather was really the last person that I immigrated with when we came to America that had any sense of religion in him. By the time my grandparents were born, no. By the time my parents were born, no. By the time I was born, no. So it wasn't really a big part of our lives. Which is really interesting because of that, and growing up in the US during the 80s, 90s, Cold War, religion is not a big factor in my life. I've always had a really interesting relationship with religion because I see how people weaponize it to disguise it as a weapon for their own hate that they want to deploy. Mm-hmm. But I also see it being an incredible crutch for people in the worst of times. Yeah. And it's been fascinating to see religion play out in my life, how I observe it. But for me, no, it hasn't been it. I would say on the flip side, it's been fun because as I've evolved and my life has evolved, I'm like, like the amount of pastors and rabbis but the amount that have reached out to me being like, you're very religious. I'm like, I am.
So I was going to say, that's why I ask. A lot of principles you have are pillars of religion.
I'm incredibly conscious to that now.
Yeah.
As this journey has gone on, which is great. To me, I'm in a place where I want good. And so as anything, governments, religion, companies, platforms, there's good and bad because humans make them good and bad. Mm-hmm. The things we're talking about for the last 15 minutes are the things I'm focused on because that's how I think we as humans make these things good or bad. But I'm aware that a lot of my stuff can touch on those tones. I curse a lot, so a lot of the religious people don't love that. But,
It's funny. I like your videos where you talk about how you're not going to stop cursing.
I just don't. I'm really, really bad at doing anything that doesn't come completely natural to me. Like really bad. I just don't want to not be me at all costs. When it costs me money, when it costs me opportunity, when it when it
costs you diction, God forbid.
But like honestly, it's I just like the ease of always being me.
I think that's the next wave too. I think it's the current wave and the next wave. I think it's going to continue to flow in that direction. You're seeing the people that stay around now. The people that are getting hot now, the people that are up next are all just 100% authentic to themselves.
It's just easy.
It's exactly opposite.
Go ahead.
I feel like that is, and I'm not trying to shit on TikTok, but everybody's doing the same thing.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm
talking about.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like on platforms like at least Vine, people were creating their own like.
No, I'm not talking about TikTok. I'm talking about like real staying power, like not TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Like
sorry. I thought you meant on platforms.
I think look, Vine too. Like there was beats. You could speak to this like. I understand your point. I'll play something in the middle, which is, you also back to what we were talking about. People go through ebbs and flows. It's funny, Logan, with all your different twists and turns, I think you'll be surprised as you guys are now getting older. You're going to watch you were the generation coming up. You're going to get a real at bat of watching the next, and they're coming in so young. So you're already living this. It's going to be fun for you to see the first, pattern of it. Because by the time Logan was doing his thing, I'd already been through all the YouTube 2006, 7, 8, 9. I'd been through the Twitter influencer of, and by the time he came, I'm like, okay, you can start to see certain things. I think you'll be surprised. I bet you, given this young and what I'm seeing on TikTok, and I think we share a lot of similar points of view. I'm just older. I've had a couple more at bats. You're going to be surprised by a person or two that does have staying power. And in that insight, you'll notice that what happens is it's moments in time more than anything else. And I bet you guys know this. I mean, I found, even I, who will think about this 24/7, subconsciously have gotten there. You get caught up in what's working for a little while. And all of a sudden you just kind of wake up and it's 6 or 12 months later and you it's not that it's not you, but you've deviated for subconscious success.
That's deep.
Yeah, and
That is
very
really
true.
deep. You get caught up in like, if I stop doing this, then this won't happen.
Right. Or it's even crazier. This word works, or this kind of thing. Like it goes so deep into the subconscious, you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
There's
You
a
get
that
blended.
that's actually there should be studies done on this phenomenon that you're describing. It's
Getting lost in the sauce.
essentially, yeah, like you're being fueled by
and then what moments, and it's not even about the algo, it's just about culture. It's like, what's hot, where are you in your life? It's a new relationship, a
100%,
single friend, a new
100%,
girlfriend for
yep.
you guys. Like it's just, it's the way your world moves. Like Puerto Rico is going to be different than LA. Like there's just a lot of shit that happens. One random thing turns out, like thinking about I just saw The Ring on the way up here. Like thinking about how that went, like that narrative, that's a very, what are we talking? Only 4 years right now, 5 years? I'm trying to think. 5 for the first fight that you had with KSI.
oh yeah. 4 years.
I don't know the actual story. Maybe you give 2 seconds on it. Maybe everybody knows it, but like, I'm dying to know the first combo that triggered it. Right? If you think about how things work in life, there was a combo or a thought, or you two talked, or he said something, or you guys had real beef.
Actually, let me
tell me.
Let me tell you, because this
Yeah.
is actually
This is
fascinating.
interesting.
Okay. Were you in the kitchen that day? No. Okay. So it's very simple. KSI called me out online, and this.
Why? Because that's what's fun.
Well, that's that's like the historical moment that would be like the public
That
thing
I
that everyone
understand.
knows. Jake Poole,
What if-
Logan
yeah,
Poole,
but-
any of the Pools.
Yeah. Why?
I think you were the villain at the time.
I was the villain on YouTube. I had
and
just
he
as many subscribers as him.
Got it. So
Same
he's-
age, same
got it,
physique.
got it,
UK, US.
Okay.
But
But you had never talked to him,
ever.
and he just randomly.
Sorry,
put it
that's
out.
not true. We had met once at the Super Bowl, like a couple years prior, but
Quick, yep.
essentially never.
Yep.
Especially about boxing. But dude, I almost didn't do that fight.
I believe it.
It took Danny Rocca. Do you know the Rocca twins?
Yeah.
I love
It took him in the kitchen hyping me up, going, man, you have to fight him. It's going to be the biggest thing ever. I'm like, KSI's from the UK. We have a different audience. Who's going to watch that fight? He goes, mate, you have to do. And just because Danny Rocca
That's
pushed
it.
me, I had a fight with KSI, a second fight with KSI, and then started a global beverage brand with him.
And
You fought Mayweather.
And
And then fought Mayweather.
and the splits. And the
but
splits.
seriously, you just beat me to it. I'm telling you, I don't know what the fuck it was about that split jump. I literally, this is not a joke. In my brain, you did that. The guy went, you jumped, and in my brain, I see you literally giving your Oscar acceptance speech.
Immortalized.
I literally am like
Carrying the torch into the
Brother, I'm
Olympic
being dead
Stadium.
serious.
In
I
a
saw him do
split.
it.
In
I'm
a-
like, you know what? He's going to go deeper. This is me guessing. I know nothing. He's going to go deeper in this. It's going to work for him. It's going to give him a platform. He's going to fucking make a movie. It's
Pope.
going to work.
Be the Pope.
He's going to and he's going to go from comedy to more like, look, and I think you're going to win an Academy Award.
Just don't slap anybody.
So but that's what we're talking about here, right? Like somebody makes one TikTok because they're pissed, because their shit's declining, because TikTok's fucking them, because every platform fucks you. No, it's called supply and demand. More people make shit. Like it's, ads go in.
Yeah.
It's the way it works. That's why moving fast when new shit happens is so important. So they're pissed. They're not getting what they used to get. They're getting desperate, and then they hit a place creatively, whether pro or con, and just do something different, and it works. And the next thing they know, they have a fucking cupcake company.
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, I love how your brain works.
But that's what it is. They get a viral cupcake video, and that's why I push people to make. It's an at-bat to change your life.
Yep.
That's why I push people to say, talk about shit that fucking you're interested in. I'm like one thing a lot of my friends talk to me about is, Gary, you're like a real businessman, and people think you're a motivational speaker, garage sailor. Like, and they like talk to me out of like compassion. They're like, I feel bad. Like my real business people, like the 50-year-olds who have billionaires, and they're like, they think I'm the guy, and they're like, this is weird. Like my nephew thinks you're a garage sailing person. I'm like, I am a garage sailing person. But my point with that is, I don't fear being misjudged for my capacity and capabilities in other areas just because I might go viral on a genre that might be silly, because I know back to the intent that happened because I got 10 DMs and emails in one flight from New York to LA, all saying, you talk about all this, I should invest, all 10 of them, same thing, different words, different style, but they all said the same thing. Hey, I love you, but you fucking talk about putting $25K into a startup and it can change your life. I have $9 fucking, asshole.
Yeah.
And so, I take my shit serious. I'm like, that's super fucking fair. And I'm like, I need to think about this. And then like, I don't know, somewhere over fucking Kansas or something. I'm like,
Let's go to a garage
well, wait a
sale.
minute. I used to have $9. What the fuck was I doing? Shit. Garage sales. And now with eBay, and I just started making that content for all the, fun that I have with that and people have with it, at my expense, which I love. The amount of I've had hundreds of thousands of people in the last 4 years email me and say, I had $19. I now have $100,000.
Shopify.
Like it's changed their life.
Selling mugs.
Yeah.
At a
mug
garage
life.
sale.
Mug
Dude,
life.
this is a legit. I have a guy. He's one of my closest friends. His name's AJ's in Arizona. I walked into his guest bedroom, and I swear to God, dude, you're gonna think I'm lying.
I'm not.
Fight Club gear everywhere. The sunglasses, the boots, the jackets. I go, oh, I got to get rid of him. He's gonna kill me. So I go, what the fuck are you doing with all this stuff? He goes, oh, I sell this shit on eBay. And I go, well, how much? And he makes so much money in the stock market. I go, is it like a hobby? He goes, yeah, I love it. I do it. Pulls up how much he makes on eBay. He makes more than what I make doing social media. And I go, bro, how the
Not
fuck
after
is
you
this
sign to
possible?
Impulsive, brother.
Huh?
Not after you sign to Impulsive.
Nope, still after
We lose money on this show, dude. It costs a lot to get him out here to Puerto Rico. There goes
But
our
it
budget.
made me really fucking close. I'll tell him that.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, your garage sale arc is phenomenal. I mean, like I actually didn't even know the garage sale side of Gary. I swear to God, until 4 years in, I seen you now as Gary Vee.
Now.
Still
Love it.
Why?
Because I would rather garage sale at 7 a.m. on a Saturday than golf. Like 90% of the people I do business with, they like that better. I like this better. They like the calm, the quiet, nobody can bother them. Like my brother loves golf. Like I can understand golf. Makes sense to me. 4 hours, nobody fucks with you. Go with your buddy, couple people. Like makes all the be competition. AJ's big reason was I love competition, but your knees are gonna go. We can't play basketball. Like I need something in my 60s. He's right. Now I have pickleball, so I'm set. But for me, the idea of rolling up to a stranger's home and that there's a 1929 Green Lantern ring from a Cracker Jacks box somewhere in the shit for $250,000 that I can sell for 1.7 million is still the thrill of the hunt.
Do you ever feel bad?
Never.
You take like somebody's
I know.
$2
I read the
Avengers tin
Yeah.
and it's worth like 26 million at auction, and you're like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!"
I read all those comments. They're like, you are like, I'm putting out this. So at first it's going great, right? Like changing people's lives. You're the best. You showed me. Then all of a sudden it started going viral on TikTok and everyone's like, let me get this straight. You are very rich. You're going to people's homes. They want $20. They have
Bargaining too. I'll give you $2.
Well, that's the thing. I am because I have to. The whole prep. My whole mindset was let me show people how to do it. And if you have $117 in your bank account and somebody wants $8 for Hot Wheels, you better pay $3.
My favorite one is the Trevor Wallace one. Where he's like,
Trevor.
you go in there and you fuck his face. He wants $8. You go in there and you give him $1.50.
You know, it's funny, Trevor. A lot of
Great
a
stand-up.
lot of the other people have done it more often and are more known for. But Trevor's one off that
Amazing.
one where I'm like, D-Rock, hand me the gun. I mean, that whole genre of those 4 to 7 people that make a lot of content doing impressions of me has been also one of the most wildly like amazing feelings of my life. The fact that I'm in a place where people will actually impersonate me and
Like how? How would they impersonate you?
stop it.
Like no, I mean like how would they impersonate you guys?
They're like TikTok, and so
You need to be making at least one TikTok video a day.
when he added that, I'd bite my nails 24/7. Somewhere around like the 17th one, he added this, and I was on the like. But let me get to this point. You'll love this. You know this world. Like the fact that some of them have used that to get a lot of awareness to then build their actual. I mean, it's fucking.
It's great.
To me, somewhere along the line, I'm like, wait a minute. If I just live my life, and I'm just living, but I produce content that they'll have positive impact as the sawdust. I'm just living, but there's sawdust, and this is helping people. That's another version. Exactly. Exactly. Dogs know.
Well, no,
they have a
wait,
sense.
you also can't be mad at them because they just did what you taught them to do. Like they
Mad?
found no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they found a way to create a voice for themselves.
It's so funny. Like, it's interesting. Again, I'm trying to combat insecurity at scale. So they were doing it for a while. I didn't want to play on that I knew because I wanted them to like let it breathe a little bit. But finally it got to a point of like a year in, 6 months in, I was like, let me live a little. And I would leave a comment or make acknowledgement. And I was fascinated. So many people are like, oh, thank God you can take a joke or and I was like, man, that's just like the default cynicism or the default insecurity framework of our society. Anybody who's watching who's got the benefit of getting popularity to buy homes and happy and like help their mom. Like there's another side to it and you have to also enjoy that. And to me, by the way, nothing for nothing, none of it is grounded in malicious intent. Even people that go more center.
No, it is.
Yeah.
He doesn't like you.
No. And so I'm like outrageously flattered.
You watching. I work with Barstool Sports, right? Well, if you do know that and you haven't signed up for the Barstool Sportsbook, what is good? New players can sign up right now with the exclusive promo code Logan1000 and get their first bet 100% risk-free up to $1,000. Make your first deposit today, and if your first bet loses, get an equal free bet up to $1,000 in sportsbook bonus cash. That's actually a sick deal. Additional terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Must be physically present in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Maine, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, or Virginia to bet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the Tennessee REDLINE. 800-889-9789. Now back to the show.
You should get faster at that. The guys at the end of commercials on the
That's going to be me.
They're just trying to do the same thing that you are.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of and by the way, that's another thing I realized about a lot of the hate comments or like stuff like that.
You would have hated everybody at 16. You would have shit on everybody.
For sure, but they're trying to post something that gets the most likes.
100%.
You're trying to put out a video that gets the most views. They want somebody to hit
100%.
thumbs up on their content because it makes them
100%.
feel good inside.
Or lead to something. That's where the thing that I think for everybody's knowing that a lot of influencers and a lot of people coming up the game watch this because they look up to you three and are coming up. Let me give you one good one right from this will really play. Just detach yourself from all of it. Like the thing that works for me is not that I can deal with the hate. It's that I can deal with the admiration.
Yeah.
The reason I can deal with people telling me I suck and I'm overrated and I blow is that when people tell me I'm the GOAT, I don't hear that either.
You're right in the middle.
Yeah, because if you fall in love like with positive affirmation, well then you're vulnerable. Like when, for example,
because then you're caring about
100%. One of the things I think about a lot is if your whole life you're cute, if you're pretty, girl, boy, right, and all your affirmation is coming from that, that's a lonely game at 50. That's plastic surgery out the yang. That's your framework. This is where I get my validation from.
It rots quick.
I watched a Drake interview, something he said that I abide by now. There are a couple of things he said in this particular interview. 72-hour rule before you make any decision that is starts
Very
with emotion. Another one he said I try not to get too caught up in the highs or the lows.
That's right.
It's essentially same thing as what you're saying is like, there's a baseline where my mental functions optimally. And that's where I like to live.
It's a counter energy when everyone's like, "You're the fucking I'm like, dude, my parents had sex at the right second, and I have intuition. And who the fuck am I?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I go that way, and then the other way, you fucking suck. I'm like, you suck too. like as if
imagine him on the sidewalk. No, you suck too.
Right? I mean, like. People are good at certain things. They're not good at certain things. Like, I think that you just got to understand that when one thing's coming at you, fucking like a superhero, just push the other energy. The problem is when people are getting love, you're fucking awesome. They fucking want that. Yeah. They want to eat the shit out of that. Oh, I'm hot. Yeah. Oh, I'm rich. Yeah. I'm fucking best. Yeah. But then they're like, you suck. Oh, they're like fucked up. You got to stop both of it.
You deal with a lot of famous people, a lot of successful people, a lot of celebrities. For those who you haven't met yet, who might not even know you.
Yeah.
If you admire them, how do you engage in conversation with someone who's heard everything you're ever about to say?
You mean people I actually know? So that's funny. You changed the question at the end there. You mean people that do or didn't know me at all? Or you mean people that really do?
People that do not know who, do you assume
I assume
your peers know you or no?
No, I don't.
Okay. So
Let me rephrase. That's changed a little bit in the last 2 years.
yeah.
In the last 2 years, I can feel there's a difference. And now I am aware. So 3 years ago, I definitely didn't assume. I was like, it didn't even allow myself to go there. For what? Who gives a fuck? The last couple of years, I also don't like being delusional. I'm like, yes, a lot more people know who I am.
I would agree.
I would also say, because of how weird I'm playing it, I also know that very few people actually really know what the fuck's going on with me. And so I have to take that into consideration.
Okay. So then, yeah, let me amend the question to if anyone has a chance to approach someone has had a wealth of experience in their life, and with that maybe comes money, knowledge, whatever it is. How do you engage in conversation with these extraordinary people? Is there
I'm going to give you a bunch of things because you were going somewhere that I want to share because it was one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life and I'm trying to get better at it. So D-Rock knows where I'm going, I think. I never reached out to anybody for like 10 years. Nobody. I first of all was focused on just doing the right things and I knew good things would happen if that happened. I also, if I'm being very transparent and vulnerable, I enjoyed that things came to me and I wasn't asking for them. I was also taught by my parents, like, never ask for anything. So there's some of that, but I'd be lying here and full of shit. There was definitely a part of me that'd be like, yes, XYZ reached out to me. Like, I liked it. It felt like I accomplished something. I'm aware of that now.
Right.
Just a lot. Like, I really am so thankful that I don't have a whole lot of ego, but I would argue what I just said was grounded in I'd like to call it lightweight ego. I enjoyed it.
It sneaks up on you.
But something really hit me. So Kobe passes and multiple people reach out to me 2 or 3 weeks later saying that they were in the process of reaching out to me because in that window, in the last 6 months, he started really liking my content and thought I had wanted to meet, that it was going to be fun for me. One guy specifically that I know very well, I went to Qatar with him before the World Cup, really was called me pretty emotional. I was like, 8 days ago, we had the conversation that was and I just remember thinking, talk about somebody I really admire because I'm so competitive. And so everything he is as an athlete, I understand cold. Competition is a framework of my life. Like, for all the foofy, be nice and all that stuff, I'm an assassin. I want to kill all of you. I'm just very...
That's getting clipped. For sure. That shit is getting clipped.
Please clip that in
And going
context.
straight to TikTok.
Then he looked at me, big eyes, and nodded.
You know that guy?
I slowly was like,
the guy that clips up the podcast.
But, honestly, the reality is that I love being competitive. And when I say that, it's like being on the field. It's like sports, right? You watch them, they battle elbows, want to kill each other. Game's over, dap it. Sometimes too much. Because when you're a fan, you're pissed. I'm like, don't fucking, and so I understand and love competition. I admired that mindset, that tenacity, that accountability. And he was also nice.
So nice.
So that's what really fucks with me. So anyway, it happened. And I get 3 or 4 people and within the first 6 to 8 weeks of his passing tell me, and I'm just like, man, I'm such a fucking dick face, right? Why? Why couldn't I have reached out and be like, hey, what you've done for these years, it's really cool. And then maybe we would have had dinner and I would have that memory. And so I've been actively, I did it for kids on the come up. I do it all the time. I still do it. There's
that's
nothing
interesting.
I love doing it for.
Oh, wow.
I do it. I bet a bunch of kids are actually for this world. A bunch of people are like, really? Because you came out to me and I had 1,800 people and I had 4.
Yeah.
I love encouraging the kid. I love it. But when somebody's like that person already, I haven't done that, and I'm trying to do that more.
Interesting.
that's crazy. You're literally not doing what you teach them to do.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Because
exactly
you're wrestling with, and it's not a bad pride
No.
thing. It's literally just it's your parents teaching you don't ask for something.
That's exactly right. I thought I was doing the better version. I was doing it for the people that needed it more. Mm-hmm. Kobe doesn't need another person saying he's the greatest. Yeah. I thought I was doing it for the person to give them a push, to give them a pump, to help them, to maybe answer a question they're dealing with. And it was working. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't do it for, somebody I'm so pumped that I DM'd Roddy Rich now. I'm pumped that's there. I'm pumped that DM sits in there.
What'd you say to Roddy?
I fuck with your shit.
We're trying to have him on the show. I'm really good
Good.
friends with Kifa.
I love it. That's exactly. Yeah. So like, like I like that. I'm trying to do more of that. I'm pushing myself. As far as like maybe where you were going with that question in a different direction, I think everything is context. I can know everything. I mean, I can have a dinner right now with D-Rock that's profoundly interesting because we've not traveled as much the last couple of years. And even though I know all the foundational things and we know each other so well, so for me, if somebody knows everything about me or I know everything about them, that has nothing to do with the sit down and chopping it up because everything's contextual. It's of this moment.
I agree. Yeah, cool. You're really good at living in the moment. And I was going to ask how you maintain such a vast memory of all these tidbits of knowledge that you have. Are you journaling? Are you constantly writing? Is it all off the dome? All of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is back to, here's a good one.
Like
actually.
you don't map out your speeches.
No, I don't even know what I'm lucky that I barely knew we were even coming here just now. Like, I don't even sometimes know the next meeting. I'm very bad at that. So I have a lot of infrastructure. This is something I think a lot of people need to hear.
Wait, so they just stick you on stage and say, go?
But it's less that. It's like I sometimes legitimately, like most of the time, I actually don't even know what my day is going to be like. I just look at the first meeting and then like the next meeting is like, oh, fuck, I got this. Like, it's just like, because it doesn't matter. I'm prepared.
You have a
Dude,
great.
are you my dad?
George didn't know. He didn't know why he was in Puerto Rico. We flew him here. He goes, "What are we doing again?" I'm like, "Gary Vaynerchuk is on the podcast."
My thing on the podcast is not coming prepared because the audience might not know who you are.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to get to know you
I love
organically.
that. I think that's super smart. Listen,
We cut you off. I'm sorry.
So where are we going with
I was asking, do you prepare your stuff? How you memorize? How you jot down your thoughts?
I want to say this because I know this will bring value to people. I think most people become fixated at getting decent at something they're naturally bad at. I'm obsessed with becoming the all-time insane version of the things I was naturally good at. So memory, unstoppable, and I use it. And other things you can hire around as you go up the ranks, or you can just punt it. I punted a ton of things that I wasn't. I'll give you one: blogging. So I was right about e-com. I was right about Google AdWords. I was right about email. And here comes blogging in 2002. And like 2002 to 2004, 2005, blogging. Perez Hilton, remember that?
Yeah,
like, it was blogging. I can't write for shit.
You tried.
No, I didn't even have to try. I knew exactly how I wrote.
Why didn't you try?
Because you knew he wasn't good at it.
Have you ever looked at some of the texts I've sent you? I have no capability of putting...
Every single day, you text us "men" with an exclamation point. I swear to God, that's not a joke. He goes, men?
Men?
Like, that's it. It's me and a few other guys. Like, what do you want?
I want to know if you're good.
Men.
I want to know if you're good.
Is that what it means?
It's exactly what it means. We were just talking about it when I got off stage. They're going to be like, Vee Friends Series 2 just unveiled.
I know.
And when I got off the stage, I was trying to catch up before we got here on the way here. And it was funny. They were all saying like, Dio, great job, by the way. Dio said, hey, I need to know what's going on with the project because I guarantee the second he gets off stage, he's going to ask. And then one of the guys on team, Tyler, I think, said, no, how's vibes? How's vibes with my team is men with me, you, Kalish, Banks. Like, I just want to know the following thing at all times. Are you good? Is there anything I can do for you? It's my natural state. My mom is that. That's how I became it. Like, are you good? Is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
It's my favorite feeling. I love it. I'm so good. And so I feel guilty and grateful that I'm so good that all I want to do is make you good.
I appreciate that, Gary.
It's a good feeling. Like, listen, for everybody who's watching right now or listening, if you're good, for everybody who's happy, it's our responsibility to help. Because right now, negativity is very good at marketing. Negativity is very loud. Negativity is very viral. The problem with positivity is you can be dismissive. You're not affected. You're shit. You suck. The world sucks. You're just fucking iron and you can move on. I think you have to be an active participant if you're that fucking lucky. And I take on that responsibility heavy.
Do it as a Jets fan.
Think about that.
You punted a lot of things that you're bad at, man. And I cannot imagine
the
fact that you are still sitting in those fucking jet seats. How do you do that?
Not only that, tomorrow morning when I fly back, it's going to be, Wednesday? Thursday's the draft. I am like sweating, thinking, are we gonna take Icky? Do we take Sauce? Like, I'm fucking obsessed about Thursday and Friday. I got all this shit going on, and I'm like, Thursday, we're gonna take these college kids, and if they don't save my life, I'm gonna be pissed.
That was the first
you
place
know-
I ever met you, was at a Jets game with Sean Nelson from Love
Be, be honest. Do you have any remembering of Mike Malak
shot.
meeting for the first time?
Shot.
Ready for this? We were 14. You guys were 3 rows in front of us.
What's going on with your brain, dude? How do you remember shit like that? Like, how would you remember? I was like, dude, that's Gary Vee. And this was like 2015.
Yeah, I remember.
Probably.
But do you remember it? But do you remember him? Sean Nelson. Come on, that's the CEO of Lovesack. But Mike, the druggie at the time, like,
not a druggie. I don't know if you caught up with
there because he was like a
So there's 2 things that go huge for me. Faces, like dominant.
Right.
Like I'm fucking like Clear when it comes to face. You know, Clear the thing in the airport and just looks at it and is like, that's me. I'm like human Clear when it comes to faces.
that thing is impressive.
Also, Mike's a very memorable person. Like when you meet him.
Yeah, but it was chill. It was quick.
Yeah,
it was
very
before
fast.
kickoff. Like, but I remember it vividly.
That's exactly when it was. Yeah.
3 rows in. Like, I can remember things like that very, very, very
You're
well.
the Rain Man.
In those, in
You're dusting
that.
off. You're the fucking Rain Man, dude.
But on the Jets front, right? This is actually real right now. One of the reasons I have so much compassion is I'm so bitter as a sports fan between the Jets and the Knicks. There is no question in my life that like I am the least version of myself in those settings. I am out of control at Jet games. I hate people. I want to fight. I've been my worst self at football stadiums. And so it makes me realize, wait a minute, people who are not happy can lose control and have bad behavior. I hate Patriot fans for real. That's called envy.
Oh, it's interesting. You use these moments of out of character to relate when you are this Gary to the people who are stuck in that state. Interesting.
That became the connection point where I'm like, I get this. You're unhappy in real life. I'm unhappy in this sports life.
So I get it.
So I get, because I really mean it. Like, no, like this is not for show. Like at a Jets game, I'm unhappy. I'm pessimistic.
Are you a liability
to the Jets?
To the fans.
to,
To the
and
world.
to yourself?
Yes, to society. There's this great moment. I wish my friends were right here. I'll tell the story. I never really tell my bad Jet stories because they're bad. This is a typical Gary move. Steelers travel well. So when the Steelers play the Jets, half the stadium is Steelers. So for some miraculous reason, during a bad Jets season 7 years ago, we decided we're going to beat the Steelers. So we're going to win the game. They've got their towels. We're going to win the game. It's wrapping up. The game's over. 5 minutes left. We were up by 3 touch. We won. This 80-year-old dude is walking up the steps to go to his seat, and I stand up and I go, "Sit down, old man. You're finished." Right? Like, just pissed. Like, sit the fuck down, old man. You're finished, right? And I sit down, and everyone, like, you know, there's a lot of season ticket holders that sit with me, and they're kind of like, they love me because I defend us, but sometimes I go too far, and they're embarrassed, and this would be a step too far, and they're embarrassed. And then, like, Lou turns to me and goes, everyone's a little upset that I did that because he's just a very nice
Just
old
a
man.
guy.
There was no reason to do that.
He was a worker at the stadium.
And no, he's a Steelers fan. He's got the Super Bowl jacket. He's walking. And Lou turns to me, goes, and everyone's upset. And Lou goes, "Man, I wish everybody knew what you actually meant." And I'm like, "I know." Because I meant you're about to die, not that you're a Steelers fan. Like, I'm like, sit down, you're finished in life, not the Jets Steelers game.
my
Like,
God.
that's I've hip checked. The Jets lost to the to the Patriots 10 years ago.
You really are an assassin,
I was
huh?
36. This 12-year-old kid's walking by me after the game. I hip check him into this in a 12-year-old boy. I'm 36 years old. I hip check him into the cage. His dad turns. I'm like, "The fuck are you gonna do about it?" Like, I get crazy.
You're a liability.
Is that the
This is
one
what I
thing
mean.
that you would ask for before you die? Would be a Jet Super Bowl.
That's why I'm gonna buy them and win one. I'm not even like letting it be up for chance. I'm gonna take care of this shit myself.
I believe you. That's crazy. That's crazy.
We got close to the NFT shit, and we clearly have to do this. Like, he's got his OpenSea open.
Well, you said because you said
Talking
Vee
about
Friends
Vee
2
Friends. Yeah.
unveiled, and I realized I hadn't looked at them yet because I pulled mine up. I'm an investor in Vee Friends. I got a good one. I got the Harpic.
I know. D-Rock's favorite.
Oh,
It's the only character in all of Vee Friends that is made up.
It doesn't exist, which is why I bought it. Can't wait
It's
to see
gonna be- it's
what you
yeah,
do with it,
it's a
Gary.
big one.
So where do I even start with this? the NFT space started popping off.
Yes.
Early last year.
Yes.
You, similar to the Pokemon thing, urged I do my research, and there's an infamous call
Yes.
that we had.
Yep.
And I see clips of it going viral online. It was a Cryptopunks call.
Yeah.
Beast was on it, Casey Neistat was on it, and we loaded up on Cryptopunks. And since then, you have continued to consume in the space and educate yourself in the space and then create in the space, which is kind of a similar journey to what I've done.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what about the NFT space made you feel the same way that you felt about social media back in the day?
Humans need to communicate. It's a core thing. And I believe that more than speaking, more than writing, more than singing, the number one way that human beings communicate is by buying things.
Really?
Yeah. Look at what you're wearing right now.
I can't believe it, by the way.
Bro, I've already
Look at what you're wearing, by the way. A shawl.
I've already talked about this.
Holy shawl.
So he looks like a Scooby-Doo
It's
character.
probably like $3,000.
right? He looks like he's about to fight crime.
Here's what's profound about it. 4 years ago, if he saw someone wearing this, he would take a total shit on that person. Today, it's him communicating a lens of creativity, a lens of wealth. It could be, that's exactly right. So why I bring that up, if you look around, like what everyone's wearing and what, like it's humans communicate through what they buy. Fashion is a quadrillion dollar industry. A quadrillion dollar industry.
Is that a real thing? The word
No.
you're saying? Okay. People are at home like,
D's
hang
and
on a
F's,
second.
D's and F's,
Does he have-
D's and F's.
Is there a PowerPoint?
We make up words
to
because we're
support that?
confident that we won't get the right word down.
Really?
It is one of the biggest industries in the world. We all buy sneakers and t-shirts and hoodies and hats and all sorts of things that really cost $4 and $9 and $22. And we spend $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 because that's how people communicate. They communicate in reverse too. People dress down when they get wealthy. Like it's not just I'm going to show, people are like, oh yeah, I'm just going to show you rich. That's not true at all. It goes the other way. The way people wear their hair, their facial hair. There's a million ways to communicate because of what you buy. I thought social media was going to be huge because I thought people were going to use pictures to communicate, and I ended up being more right than I even thought. It became the framework, right? I think NFTs are going to be that for our society, and it has a utilitarian value. It is the biggest technology shift since the internet. The blockchain, the consumer blockchain is the biggest new thing since the internet itself. And more importantly, here's why everyone's fucking it up. Everyone's thinking about it like it's the internet, which is why they don't understand it. When the big joke of, well, I'll just right click and save it, it's a JPEG, ha ha ha, is when people are basically turning into their mothers. What I mean by that is all the same kids that made fun of their parents for not having an iPhone when they had a BlackBerry, or for not having, older, my generation, not, like most parents wouldn't do email. They were scared, or buying things online, or all those things. Watching a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds that think they're cool, think they're dominating, that think they're winning, shit on NFTs makes me smile because I'm like, if these people knew that they had just turned into their parents, they'd be devastated. They are demonizing a new clear technology because of a lack of interest to do the work.
I will.
Yeah, you shifted my opinion. That's the first
no,
time
for
ever.
sure. I will play the other side,
Please,
and this
please.
comes as a avid investor in
Yeah,
NFTs.
please,
I've spent a
please.
ton of money
Yep.
on them. I believe that there has, also been a tremendous irresponsibility within the NFT creation community to drive that belief set.
I couldn't agree with you
Right.
more.
And so and that sucks. And we've talked about that irresponsibility a lot in the show. Rug pulls,
It's the
shit
worst.
projects, abandoning
It's the worst.
roadmaps.
Yeah.
And so it
but that happens with everything,
for sure.
right?
Bad actors.
Especially when a lot of money's in play.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's funny. My whole life I feared getting older because I love life and I want to live forever. But I'd be lying if I didn't say, I see, there's some cool stuff to this. I actually can't wait to chop it up in 20 years 15 years when you guys are this and I'm the next version. I'm going to be like, see, like the patterns, you see them again. When I was 22, the internet was doing this. We had internet companies like pets.com worth $17 billion doing $0 in revenue. So this bad behavior that we're seeing now from influencers and like a lot of the insecure people that want a quick bag, people are ruining if the kids that are making $1 million on rug pull realized how all the A players are talking about them, they'd be devastated. They're 22, they're scamming people, they're pumped because they have $1 million right now and they bought a cool fat place in the fucking hills. And meanwhile, all the players that actually matter have just eliminated them from any consideration to do business with
Moving
them.
forward, yeah. It's over.
What about this type of mindset?
So this is what always happens. It's what happens. Let me just
No,
finish.
no, please finish.
You know, influencers, there's bad influencers too. Like brand deals, oh, they're ruining it. It works itself out. Right now, your statement is exactly right. One of the biggest reasons that people are confused about this is there's bad acting. The problem is before there was bad acting, because bad acting is a 9-month phenomenon, not an 18-month phenomenon. Before there was bad acting, everybody still said the same thing.
Right.
People don't like new shit. Look at TikTok. You guys lived through this.
Oh, we were the people.
Gary,
we were the fucking people.
Right?
I am
100%.
ashamed. I saw you raving about TikTok. We'd come on this exact podcast and go, fuck that platform. It's for kids dancing to music. Who cares? It's
know.
weird. It doesn't make any sense. Now I'm a TikToker.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Guys, Academy Award, I'm telling you,
That's not
this
all
is a
there
lock.
on it.
Dude, just a bunch of underage girls in this.
No,
No, you know, well,
That's not
TikTok's
true.
algorithmic, so if that's what you're seeing,
I don't get on
you
it.
seek help.
I don't get on it. But
Seek help.
So here's what I need to ask you about this
Please, my
NFT
friend.
because TikTok is dead to me. I can never do it. And mind you, it might be a downfall of mine, but I will not.
It's not about a
I
downfall.
will not do anything I'm not proud of, and I'm not proud of TikTok.
But why don't
You'll
you make
appreciate this.
content that's not dancing? There's so many people on the app that make incredible
let's
fucking
Let's talk about
content.
this. Ready?
Yeah.
But you make Instagram?
No.
So what do you make?
I literally these 3 things that I'm focusing on right now is I'm finishing up this movie that I'm doing.
Love.
Podcast, stand up. And I
Good.
realize that spreading myself
fine.
too thin
To me-
fucks
to
me
me-
up. So me
to-
doing this
yeah.
on TikTok.
Well, that's different. You know that's different. That's just judging what's inside of it. That's like somebody doing stand-up, but they suck at it. Like what is inside the bucket is different than if the bucket has validity of its attention that it's in it. So like what you fill it with is different, which is why I asked, because if you were like, no, I do Instagram, I'd be like, those are just empty vessels. It's the same thing. To your point, you've taken a philosophical and a self-awareness framework game and said, you know what? This is where all this is happening. For me, what works is I'm going to play in the kind of like real world, right? And it's going to work for me. And that's awesome.
Can I tell you why I made that decision?
Please.
On Facebook, I absolutely crush it out. My videos are doing 30 million, 20 million on
fucking
skits.
Yeah.
And nothing came from it. Like it was gone the next 3 months. So I made a promise and a vow to myself, like, yo, I will not touch anything I'm not absolutely proud of.
That's your fault.
I would argue, and I would also, I'd love, first of all, I would love to have a proper dinner and go like 3-4 hours deep. I think you'd be surprised how much came from it. I just need to know everything that has
Maybe
happened in your life.
that's yeah.
Because I think what we do is we're too literal, and you were in the show business game. LA's framework on this is the worst. Oh, I didn't get a thing from this. I didn't make a movie from this. Like, it's so transactional.
Yeah.
The LA vibe is so transactional. I would argue potentially I've got to learn the whole story, which is why I need 4 hours.
Yeah.
I bet you when we're done with that, I might argue that everything happened because of it.
Maybe. And I'm down to actually hear that out.
Yeah, we'll chop it.
But can I ask you the NFT thing? Because
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's a few people that are
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
it
of
that
course.
are on the same boat. I never really talk about it because I truly don't care about it. And that's the lack
great.
of knowledge.
No,
and-
it's
and-
not. That's like not caring. This goes back to detaching yourself from personal opinion. I don't think I like anything. I like the Jets.
Tag sales.
You know, and
Tag
yeah, I
sales.
do like garage
Tag
sales.
sales.
But like,
Garage sales.
what, you know, when people like one thing that I see a lot, definitely in this genre of like popular culture, which you guys play in heavy, that's amazing. Like you don't like it, that's good.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with is it something or can it be beneficial for you to raise awareness for a nonprofit or to do business or
He's good at that.
So this is what I was going to kind of
Please.
tackle on. My biggest strength on earth, that's where I'm at today, is I learn not from my mistakes, from other people's mistakes. I watch somebody touch the fire and I'm like, wow, he just burned the fuck out of himself.
It's
I'm not
why
going to do
why
that.
you're good at stand up.
So
It's
I
all
would
observation.
rather hang
Yeah.
back for 5 years,
Just
watch all these clowns.
do you know for a fact he's good? Have you seen him ever?
No, I don't
Dude, you
know.
tweeted out that I was amazing.
Well, don't take my word for it. I'm just saying,
fine.
how do we know?
I
he
always
wears
take
that
your
shirt.
word.
I really should.
I love that shirt, by the way. But he's definitely saying something, which is like, hey, artsy friends, be my friend.
Be my friend, please.
Please, artsy.
Is that a bad outlook? And is that me being my mom and dad being like, yo, let me just hang back for 5 years and see what
You know,
they're
it's-
doing
it's,
and let
it's
let me
really
learn from
funny.
them.
My take, especially like nuances from afar and now some energy together. My take is that's an interesting framework for you because you're so intuitively strong. It shouldn't take you that long. I think you're self-aware too. So that means like, I jump into everything first, just like you walk into the room and you'll never waver. All my friends are like, why are you jumping into NFTs? You've left so much money on the table to protect your reputation. This thing could be crazy. I'm like, you don't understand the blockchain. Gary, what's the roadmap utility for Series 2? I don't need to tell you yet. I know every single person right this second that has any one of those 55,555. And in 4 years, I might decide to do something and then I'm going to bring value.
You feel confident saying that?
I feel unstoppably confident.
Why in a
Because
world
the
where
blockchain
everyone wants instant gratification and a return on their investment?
And I think that, and I saw a video from you today on Twitter that seemed like they were starting to demand that.
They are,
right?
But I'm not going to waver to them.
Right.
I have no interest in appeasing my Discord on the floor price.
So
my job is to build a project for the next 55 years. The reasons I actually predict some of the most unhappy people in the next 2 years in popular culture are owners of NFT projects because it's not sustainable to try to appease your Discord when everybody has their own self-interest and money in mind, but you can't help it because you're seeing it every second and you can't waver. And most of the people running projects right now, it's their first rodeo, they're young, and they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm struggling a little bit with this because a lot of the stuff that I'm learning more about myself as a creative and executioner, and I'm finding I'm much better at the creative than I am at execution. You've seen it with some of my stuff.
I've been saying it to you forever.
And
you're a creative juggernaut, but you're not a COO.
I'm not.
And
I'm
that's
not.
awesome.
By the way, had a call with a potential COO today. I'm like, holy shit, this is the gap I need. I need this person.
Did you use the playlist of things?
Yes, I did. Yes. And I'm having a little trouble with this because, you know, in this space, as you know, everyone wants that 100x tomorrow.
Well, listen, you know this. I've told you this. You've got some projects that I can't wait for you to make whole.
Yeah,
because you can, and you have the means to.
I'm going to in a big way.
Ready? This is just a microcosm of Japan. I know you will. And you need to give brain power to what that will be.
It's done.
Great.
It's done. I'm in execution phase.
I love
but still, it's like there's a stench that comes in this world, and people love to put that on you.
People overpromise.
Yeah.
Like if you tell everybody, I do it, but I say the same thing every time. In the next 7, 13, 25 years, Vee Friends is going to be dominant. So I can't appease you this week.
Right. You're talking to long-term holders. You don't want. Did you intentionally not provide a roadmap on the front end of V2?
Well, on V2, yes, because I knew what I wanted to. V2 was very simple. V1 was I am going to build Disney or Pokemon over the next 55 years, and I need to draw these fucking characters because I want it to be authentic to me. This is my fucking thing. And yes, I know that my drawings are not going to be as good as a great artist that I could have hired, but it was important to me. It came out of my brain. I was off the grid. I decided that I want this character to be, you know, the generous gerbil. Like that's what I want.
Does it bother you when people critique the art?
Of course not. Do you know that Kevin Rose told me the other day that when the canvas was invented, all the art community said real art can only be on a building.
What?
How about that?
But that's another example of exactly what we're talking about.
Well, that's
and
Andy Warhol and Jackson Pollock is not art. Graffiti was when I'm 46.
We got Alec Monopoly in the house,
Just watch
sitting
it,
right there.
Like,
Just watch
this is very meta. I grew up in Jersey in like an urban Jersey when in the 80s when all I heard, the two things that I thought were the coolest at 12 years old was rap and graffiti. I was like, this is just cool shit. I'd go visit my grandma in Queens and be like, oh, this is the fucking real shit. You know, like you'd see it. I thought it was the fucking best. And all I heard at 14, 15, 17, 19, when grownups were around was hip hop's not real music.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's a fad.
Yeah, for sure.
Graffiti is a fucking terror on society. I'm like, really? This shit's the best.
Went all the way to Senate. There were senators like this.
And video games? Are you kidding me? Video games were like, this is the stupidest shit of all time. I'm like, weird. Every one of my friends just wants to do it 24/7, 360. So like, I just have always thought that way. And so for me, that's just how I see things. And so this blockchain thing, the blockchain is such a big deal. Like and hip hop, I think, has changed the world. Graffiti is a profound art form. With all due respect to those two things, which are phenomenally
It's not
massive,
currency.
fucking blockchain is fucking internet level big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be the biggest, most recent like shift in human technology that we've had.
Absolutely.
And I think on the NFT front, it taps into a lot more of like why we have the NFT part taps into so much EQ, not just IQ. And I don't think people are seeing it, but it's why it happened. I mean, I literally, and again, I keep pointing to D-Rock because he was there when this was happening. I literally told them that I didn't know it was going to be called Bored Ape Yacht Club, but I literally told them, I'm like, somebody's going to be the Nike, the Yeezys, the Kith. I kept saying Kith, I think. I'm like, somebody's going to, like, I knew I wasn't because I wasn't going for that. I was going for more Pokemon Disney. I'm like, somebody's going to come in here and build Kith. And Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Out of control.
Bored Ape Yacht Club is Kith.
Out of
it's
control.
Kith. Now, to those, I'm an investor. I'm a fan guy. I was serious, my guy. I met a couple of the founders very early when Bored Ape was a week or two old. I cheer for them heavy. I hope they win.
How many apes do you have?
7. I feel for those guys because it's hard as fuck.
Hell yeah. Heavy lies the crown.
When you're, exactly.
Yes.
That they're gonna have the biggest challenge. Staying Kith, staying Palace. Look at Supreme.
But they've done a very good job.
Amazing.
Because
Here's the
remember
problem.
when they were up
Ren-
against Punks
no,
and the
they're
floor was right
amazing.
there and it was a competition
they're
almost?
Amazing. They're a year old.
Crazy.
Right. It feels like 600,000 years. Like I have a lot of respect for that team. Guys been doing it from Madonna to now. Like they'll do it, but honestly, I'm more comfortable building Vee Friends Marathon Life like that game because when you build on pure cool, you've got to it's really hard.
Will you release?
Z Cavariccis were the coolest pants when I was in high school in the 90s.
Don't tell me this. I just spent a lot of money
Good.
on an ape.
You should.
A tremendous amount.
You should.
But the floor went up 40 eats. Since
Not quite. It's not super natural. It's there's a bot.
It's not a bot. It's the land thing.
That's correct.
Other. Listen.
Anytime before an airdrop.
Listen. First of all, everybody who's listening, these are big numbers. Everyone who's listening, even if it's $30, do it on Solana, which is a great platform. Cardano, like there's other places. ETH has gas, so it gets expensive. Every person, if you listen to this fucking remarkable pop culture, current state of society show, and you've not yet bought an NFT, you're doing a big disservice to yourself. Whether you end up giving a fuck about NFTs or not, you have to learn what the blockchain's about because it's going to affect your life. You're too young. You have too much ambition. If you're watching this, you're too in it. Like you're not gonna be able to get into Coachella in 4 years without it because it's gonna be a fucking ticket to fucking Coachella.
I tried to buy the Coachella NFTs.
Oh, they had one this year?
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, you don't want to be a Facebook mom. You know the moms that found out about Facebook 12 years later and they're like, how do you do the like
That's
button?
exactly what's happening.
That's
right
going to
now.
be George. That's
exactly
George
what's
trying to buy
Already
ETH.
George.
He's going to try to buy ETH. But he's not going to be able to. It's going to be fun.
I was gonna say. Do you plan on releasing a Vee Friends V3?
Yes, but not. I have too much inventory in the system now. I have book games. I have V1. I have V2. V2, and you can see how I did it.
Yeah.
I needed to establish the IP so I could make the video games, so I could make the clothing, so I could make the candy, the cereal, the trading cards. I needed to convert my sketches into what you're seeing right now. Now I'm good. Now I don't have a need for a series 3. Now I need to spend the next chunk of 24, 36 months to get people to give a fuck about Rare Robot, to give a fuck about the Patient Pig, to give a fuck about the 3-horned harpic. I got to sign kids' book deals. I got to do iPhone games.
Can I be honest with you?
Of course.
All right. So I'm your friend.
Yeah.
I've known you for a while. And sometimes when I come up with these crazy ideas and I pitch it to my friends, they don't completely get it, but they believe so much in me. They're like, sure, do your thing. And I get Vee Friends and I believe in you, but I definitely think probably similar to the way people reacted when you were first getting into wine or like pivoting into any industry.
Yeah.
It is a bit hard for people to digest that you want to and are going to be the next Walt Disney.
I get it. And by the way, nobody should take that serious because it's Walt fucking Disney.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try.
I believe it. I think you'll do it. I think you'll do it.
Like to me,
I don't see it being that hard. I mean,
Oh, I'm sorry, George.
no. Here's the reason. Remember,
What?
he says that you might not like his art, but no, like Walt Disney's
No, that's
kicked
not
out
what
of
it.
art
That's not
school.
what it's
He wasn't
about.
No, it's
great.
It's about
Yeah.
building
That's not what
a
it's about.
fucking
it's-
empire.
yeah.
It was done once. It could be done before.
Again,
Who cares? I got FTDs.
I got FTCs.
Oh my god! If I brought home a C, it'd be a parade.
This is Logan. I think the key there, and it's a really interesting moment that I hope people extract from home. I'm not delusional. It's gonna take my life. Like I actually have to put all my energy into even getting into the conversation. If I go crazy and get to Transformers level, it's all time. To talk about Disney is ludicrous. However, I just don't know how not to make that the framework of how I think.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you, like, let's dive in here a little bit, because I'm super into media, obviously, and
Yes.
storytelling
Yes.
and characters and their
I
arcs.
know. When you did the things with your fucking pets, I was pumped. That fucking parrot.
Oh yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I know this about you. Like when you did that, I was like, this fucking kid.
I love
gets it.
I love the entirety of
I know.
the thing and
I
the
know.
development.
I know.
And so it's
You're
interesting.
a creative.
Exactly. You've started with characters.
Yes.
So now I don't know if you have to work backwards, but okay. So can I ask what the next step is? Are you going to make
of course.
a script and sell your show to Cartoon Network?
Of course. Not only that, it's better than you think. I have real relationships. I'm a real guy. Like I know the people that run these OTTs. I know the best studios in the world. I know which animation studios I'm going to buy. I know the people. I know how to put a Broadway show out.
Dude. Part of the reason that Originals was delayed was because you fucking bought the dev
Your
team that was
team,
going to
yeah.
build it.
No shit.
I swear to God.
You fucking ass.
Yeah, dude, you screwed me.
You ruined
Little
Logan's
grandpas
life.
and stealing his dreams.
I've
been hearing about it for a
operator.
week.
And there's another side, right? And you've done this with Maverick. I know how to do retail. Like I've already sold a wine company that was DTC.
Yeah.
Like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like the thing that has been baffling to me is people are buying all these fucking NFTs. They don't even know who the founders are. It's because it's all pump dump, all bullshit. I'm sitting out here. I'm like, I co-founded Resi and sold it for 200 million. I co-founded Empathy and sold it for 80 to 120 million, depending on the outcome. VaynerX is $1 billion company. Like I'm Gary Vee. I built that brand. I invested in all these companies. I found people like Logan fucking Paul. Like I'm good at what I'm a good businessman.
But besides that, because you're right. And that is like, I think that's like 80% of the reason why I'm buying into Vee Friends. And I'm just like, this is an open conversation. I imagine working backwards is super hard because you have
No,
to have an amazing product.
I'll tell you only. By the way, let's talk about the meta. Right this second, Vee Friends is just revealed. It's 55,555 NFTs.
And 20,000 holders, right?
Yeah, but 55,000. We were talking in the car here. I'm like, how are all the people that have been whispering for the last 6 weeks? Everybody's like, too much supply, too much supply, too much supply. The thing is melting it right now. Why? Because I have enough demand. I know what I'm doing. And in the same, like to your point, I know how to hire and M&A the right talent.
Yeah.
And build an organization. I have 1,800 employees looking right now. I am currently the CEO of disproportionately the hottest, largest independent advertising agency in the world. I have 350 employees in APAC right now. Like I have Mexico City. Like I'm a real businessman. I know people think I'm a motivational speaker. I know people think I'm a TikTok influencer. I know what they think because nobody pumps out more content than me. But in real life, actually, I'm trying to become one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time.
I think you might have already done that.
No, I haven't. But if I keep going how I'm going, the way I've defined it for me, because it's an inside game, because I want to win this game, is not only do I want to build big companies, because you got to have that if you're gonna say it, you got to have some points on the board. But I'm incredibly proud of who I am to other entrepreneurs. I think I'm far more selfless than other people that have my talent in this game, and I don't need all the points on my board. I like putting points on the board for others.
You ever talk to Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Does he inspire you? Do you inspire him? Is it mutual?
I'm not sure, I don't think I inspired him. He was long in, he was in fucking movies, like killing fucking Jack Black when I was like jerking off watching it. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
Seems like some weird content to be jerking off to.
I don't know if you remember that movie carefully.
My favorite scene
there
is
was
when
some
she
things where
jumps in the pool.
Thank you. So,
And the kids on the trees like, Daddy!
so I tend not to be inspired by a Steve Jobs or a Elon Musk or Tony. Like, that's not how my brain works. I get crazy, like almost like little Misty when I get the email from like a kid who's like, can you make my mom a 5-second happy birthday video? She works 3 jobs. There's 6 of us.
Sure, kid, it's $1,000 on Cameo.
Get out of here. Like to me,
The Jets on, you fucking idiot. Don't message me right now.
well, that I won't even look at. Like, the world can be like, Putin could have won during a Jets game, and I'd be like, that's fine. This game is like, like I
You'll still be beating up old men.
Yeah, exactly. I've got others that I'm holding back. The hip check of the 12-year-old and shitting on an old man is like what I was willing to share. It's that bad. But for me, I don't get inspired that way. I get really, actually, like genuinely, like, yeah, okay, I'm a good entrepreneur, I'm doing shit, but like people are fucking grinding out there.
Rags to riches.
People are
that
grinding.
shit.
And some people are rags to rags only to give their kid a chance to riches.
Fuck yeah.
I fucking respect the shit.
That's
out of
cool.
that.
My
That's
dad-
cool.
My dad.
My dad too.
That's fucking like, for a lot of us, it was what our grandfathers and grandmothers like, and just like, what about old school grandmothers? Like, we talk about like the way the world was, but like people staying at home, taking care of all, like these are moms and grandmas who had 6 kids, no fucking maids, no help, no fucking Uber this, no this shit, like fucking grinded it. Yeah. So I don't know. I get way more of the less sexy stuff. I don't get inspired the way I inspire people. I wouldn't be me. Like, for me, I wouldn't have given a fuck about Gary Vee. I get more excited about like real stories that I know of people fucking eating shit for 40 years to help others. That parent to kid thing, or that older brother. I get a lot of, I'm the older brother, my dad died shit. I don't know what it is about that one.
Yeah, I got to take care of my little bro.
Yeah, that one really
that's
gets me, like, like.
But that's why you work though too, is because even though you're not telling that same story in your content, the authenticity, transparency, honesty, flows through your veins that resembles that kind of storytelling. Do you know what I'm saying?
In a real way. I think for you guys, back to giving roses in reverse, I think the people that are winning, and we talked about it earlier, and I do think people, like you countered in the right way. There's a lot to go through, but my general thesis is humans are animals. We do have intuition and sixth sense, and like most people kind of know. Like, and like success is not super by accident. And I think more than ever, your intent to the audience is a huge variable of where things are going to go.
Yeah, and figuring out who that audience you want to speak to is, because like I think you have a way of speaking to a group of people who don't have money to invest and teaching them how to try new things and do this and do that. And mine has always been, I want to talk to people who are just trying to survive today.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it till tomorrow. It's not about $9 to put into a stock or $15. Yeah. They're just trying to survive till tomorrow. And you got to figure out who your audience is.
And I think you have to be okay with evolving. You're going to be in a place in 7 years where you're going to be a different version of yourself, and you might have something else to say. And I think that's powerful. And I think we have to let that happen. I think a lot about that. We had this talk. I told Logan, he was in New York, and we actually got to spend a little time, which is rare for us because it's usually just boom, 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 digital, whatever. And I was like, bro, I really do look at you like fucking Marky Mark and The Rock and Will Smith. I was like, he's the Fresh Prince, then he's Will Smith. Marky Mark is like Marky Mark, then he's fucking Mark Wahlberg. Like, I think you have to be okay with evolving. Sometimes you get your identity so stuck. Look, my identity was like 2008 when I was starting to get a little momentum, the world melted. The economy collapsed. Yeah. Banks. And I was like, look, this is grind time, right? We have to grind. But then you evolve. And
hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Wine Library TV. I'm your host.
Is it
Gary
you?
Vee,
2006.
Today we are going to visit the wonderful and interesting world of Pinot Grigio.
Dude, he's come so far.
It's really real. You know what's super? You know when I watch that, talk about something interesting.
You're wearing a sweater vest.
Well,
By the way,
You fucking. Yo, you walked into that one, bro.
Gary,
He didn't even say anything.
You're 2006.
He puffed it with. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
guys, you want to hear something really interesting? I haven't told this story much. So that episode, my life at that point is I need to build this one focus. I have to build the biggest fucking company possible for my father, who I put on a pedestal, brought me to this country, taught me the right way, fucking adore this man. Because one day AJ's graduating. AJ's already in college. I'm like, we're only a couple years away and I'm going. Because I need it for me, because I've been not making a lot of money building my dad's business. And I'm starting to get resentment. Now I'm in there, I'm 31. I took a business from 3 to 65 million, and I'm making like 40, 50, 60,000 a year, because you don't get paid in immigrant family businesses.
Yeah.
And now at 31,
Paid,
you know, at 20, you know, at 20, he's like, when I die, you'll get it. I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna be 73.
No, this is you.
D-Rock, hand me the gun. You know, and so I'm like, you know, it was a really interesting mindset where I'm there. Meanwhile, what do I do for a living at that point? I sit in front of a computer, send emails and do phone calls, mainly selling wine to collectors around the country. So I'm like thinking about doing content. And this is probably, I just said it earlier, I'm really not good at not being myself. This is probably the time in my entire life, 86 episodes. 86 episodes of Wine Library TV, the first 86 of 1,000. I was too scared to be fully me, because I thought if they knew who the fuck I was, they would never give me $13,000 to buy wine, because the wine world was so pretentious. So I go 86 episodes in and things are happening. YouTube, there's nobody on YouTube yet. It's 06.
I was going to say that was like when
06.
I uploaded my first video. So probably same time, probably same year.
So I'm fucking like doing this and it's working, and like shit's starting to happen. And I remember I like started talking to the Food Network. This happened in like 3 minutes. They're like, do you want to do a show? And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And I remember thinking, just one day I was driving home, because the store's in Jersey and I lived in Manhattan. So I was 45 minutes to an hour each way. And I was like, if people like this shit, what would they do if I really let it loose? And I said, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to go do some bullshit like Food Network show, that style, Wonderful World.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Wait,
like,
hold on.
You know, like, you know, it's, and so I was,
The world of Pinot Grigio is
no,
pretty.
listen, it's pretty legit.
Like, let's not go crazy.
Yeah, if you drink
know what I'm
16
saying?
bottles of Pinot Grigio, you can get lit. But, you know, I think that, so then I made my first episode a little bit more like, this is how I would talk to my buddies, like me.
Yep.
And it fucking went bananas after that. And that was it. I never.
That's how you found your
Okay.
voice.
Yeah. I fear, right? It was business fear, but I was scared if I really showed myself and went all the way there, that these 55-year-old, 45-year-old, high net worth Wall Street cats, and don't forget this is 2006, the world's changed a lot.
So what did that look like? Listen here, motherfuckers. We've got a 1948 Cabernet from fucking Napa.
It wasn't.
Like,
Yeah, when I was doing wine content, I didn't cursing only started happening for me when I took the stage.
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Is it the energy?
I think it's the fact that I loved Chris Rock and Richard Pryor and Adam Sandler. Like, I loved I was so into Richard Pryor as a kid.
Psycho.
Like,
Who wasn't?
Lunatic.
loved him so much. And I loved Randy the Macho Man Savage more than life. And like when I watched, like when I, somewhere around 4 years in, I kind of like was watching a keynote for some content. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm just doing stand-up meets wrestling promo video. I completely was so affected by that's my style. Literally in all my content interviews, like I didn't really curse that much. I mean, I cursed in real life with my buddies, but it was stage that brought that out. And then it just went into content.
So for people, the one thing I picked up from you the most in the show today is like you pretty early on identified your passion and desire to just sell, to be a good salesman, to be a good speaker and,
you know,
and
you'll
marketer.
like this. I got back to, if you get positive affirmation for being pretty,
Yeah.
I was a DNF student.
Yeah.
And by 4th grade, my unbelievable hand-eye coordination could no longer hold off the fact that everyone was getting bigger, stronger, and faster. So I went from really doing well in sports in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade to So now sports was out. School's out, sports is out. So the only thing I'm getting positive affirmation for as a kid is 2 things. My mother is giving me tons of it when I'm nice to people in society. Open the door for a lady, it's a fucking holiday, right? Kid scrapes his knee and I come over and I'm empathetic and compassionate. All dinner, what you did for that kid. And so I'm getting positive for being nice. What's the other thing? Business. I made $16 today, which was like $1 billion, right? Like I made $9 at the lemonade stand.
So you got into the business of being nice to people.
No.
In a way,
In a
'cause
way.
you
No.
push it
No.
a lot.
No. They just ran parallel.
Got it.
I really didn't. I got into, I'm good at that. And baseball cards popped off in 86. So I was 11 and I was dominant at that because I knew everything about sports. I had the natural talent of being an entrepreneur. So I'm doing baseball card shows, making $300, which is like $1 billion. I'm fucking winning over here. I'm winning in life. Everyone likes me. I'm popular because I'm nice, but I'm not like a pushover. Like and that became my life.
Are baseball cards back like they were? Because you know when you were talking about the kids on the dirt bikes on the train tracks?
Yes.
That was me at the Knights of Columbus, buying the flare and the upper
Yes.
deck. And I wanted the whole set and the unopened packs, like the
I would-
Kirby Puckett rookie card.
84 clear.
man.
I would tell you that led me right into NFTs, sports cards in
Yes.
17, 18. That was really a big turning point for me helping people. Like the amount of people I put onto sports cards in 18, right before it blew up, it really, really helped a lot of people, especially with COVID. I mean, COVID hits and I'm getting 100, 100's a lot, 100 emails a day or DM from Twitter or Instagram, 100 messages a day saying, motherfucker, like you fucking saved me. I just lost my job.
Damn.
And these sports cards, like I saved money and then cards exploded. So
Yeah.
some of those people really went crazy. So sports cards are way, way back. I know the sports card community gets a little has feelings towards NFTs because some of those people moved over, me for sure. But I'm still doing on the flight down here, I'm texting with my friend Anthony saying, I want to buy a bunch of comic books, like Golden Ear,
Hell yeah.
all this stuff, sneakers. I'm going to buy an Optimus Prime, first Transformer in good condition for my best friend Brandon. I'm on the old side of it. You're in the middle of it. And definitely the kids underneath. We are the generation that is not as excited to buy a one family rental and make passive income or buy 100,000 shares of AT&T. Like the things we want to invest in are also our culture.
Yeah. Yeah, part of our identity.
100%.
Yeah.
Look what's happened. The reason this is all happening is everyone thinks they're an investor now. You look at TikTok, you see 15, 16-year-old girls and boys saying investor, entrepreneur. It's like culture now.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. But they're like really trying to go there. And that's when I was in high school, I couldn't find anybody to talk to business about. My friend Scott Hunter, my friend Brandon Warnicki are my core great friends from high school because they were the only fuckers I could find that wanted to talk about selling stuff or doing business. It was just music, right? Rock star, sports, school. It was just not part of culture.
It is crazy how that's the kind of discipline that goes untalked about in high school. I didn't know what business was in high school.
Until 2 months ago.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I'm still.
Did you guys fix
Bro, he used to
anything?
fucking hate. I would sit down with him 5 years ago and be like, dude, like this brand, this could be a good thing. They want to give you equity. It was like his eyes would glaze over.
He's a
and
creative.
now, because he found the intersection, like you talk
Correct.
about, where business meets passion,
Correct.
he's fucking obsessed,
But
bro.
notice what's happening, which I'm really happy for him for. Now he's been through another cycle. And he's like, okay, wait a minute. Let me take the best parts, but this operating stuff, because when you're creative, right, you get your high from the creativity. The operations is the only way that creativity is going to come to life. But you have to get your high from it. The reason Vayner is such a big company, the reason I'm confident about Vee Friends is I get excited about doing supply chain management of the cereal brand. I get excited about selling it into Albertsons.
Of course,
I get excited about
No,
I'm
it's
an operator.
100%.
You're
100%.
you're an outlier though.
I know,
That doesn't
I know.
make you have the creative because
that's very-
one thing
yes.
we've always done here in like for the past like 5-6 years has been run super lean. This has been one of the leanest. Like if you couldn't even imagine of this right here.
Is it?
This didn't exist.
Oh,
fucking
before. Got it, yeah.
6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times when it was me, him, Jeff, and a shooter.
As
You
it
know what I'm
should
saying?
be.
That was it.
Yeah,
That was
we're
it.
skinny.
By the way, the best advantage, you guys came up in the game where you knew that it didn't cost anything. The same with me, right? It was just me and D-Rock and Andy forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's when you know what the game is, which is why we've been so disruptive in ad land. When we're pitching for business, we're so much less cost and so much more
Because
effective.
you
Yes.
know it.
Because we know, what are we
Yeah.
going to charge you $900,000 to do a commercial on fucking television? You out of your fucking
Shoot it
mind?
on
love
iPhone.
shooting
Shoot it on
commercials.
iPhone and deploy it on.
No, I'm not even
ad
kidding.
spend.
I don't know why, but I love it. Logan's
You,
first
you should work for
compliment
VaynerMedia.
We'll take you. We'll pay you more than Impulse.
to me, Impulse.
That's not gonna be
We
hard.
lose money.
We'll pay you more than that guy who wears that shirt.
That's not gonna be hard.
What's at the root of all of it? Or go ahead.
So
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, no, it's funny, kind of touching on what you said earlier. Is at first when I was getting older, I was afraid of getting older. It's not something you want to do.
Yeah.
25, I remember. I'm 25 now, and then I turned 26. I'm like, this is such an insignificant age. Now at 27, I'm like, oh, I figured something out.
Yeah, I mean, to be at that age and have this much figured out, like
I know some things now, and I think the younger generation, Gen Z, or whatever the fuck the next generation is gonna be named,
would it go back to A?
Gen A. I think
All I know
they're
is
getting smarter.
The 11-year-olds that are coming next, that are going to be part of that, those fuckers are going to be wild.
They are.
I'm ready.
Wild.
I'm ready for those. I don't
They
know what
are
they're going to be. They're
wild.
going to be like eating like steel.
No. They're gonna be crazy.
They're going to be crazy.
So
I love Gen Z a lot. Like,
I was gonna say they're fucking geniuses.
I
They're
think
brilliant.
epic.
They're smart. They know how to use this. They grew up using this, and
I think they're completely unstoppable. They need to get punched in the face.
Yes.
Meaning not physically.
100%. No, physically.
Yeah, like
No, they do. They do.
No,
they need
adversity.
because
Adversity.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But Gary,
they have,
they don't
everyone
go
sa-
outside.
Everyone says they have it because the world's been unrest, COVID, which is fair. I mean, they're so good at like actually starting businesses and things of that nature. They've had macro adversity, COVID, political unrest. They've had macro, but when they get their micro, because that's just life. When I say punch in the face, that means just go through life.
Yeah.
Like you're 27 and feeling strong because you've gone through some shit.
Yeah.
When Gen Z, not in the macro, not COVID, political unrest and other things, and obviously everyone has family situations, but as a whole, when they get to the time when they stand on their own feet, like the 27-year-old Gen Zer, when that's coming, is really gonna have it.
yeah,
Like a decade from now.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
They're gonna be
facts.
shooters. They just got to get rocked a couple times, unfortunately.
Physically too. It's just important. I mean,
Speaking
you got to go
physically,
outside.
Getting beat up
Let's
in
give
real
some-
life is
let's
actually a
give-
healthy thing.
That's what I'm trying to say.
100%.
It's so
Dude,
good.
it make it, you know why? Because in real life, you go, I got my ass kicked. I'm gonna step
That's
this
what I'm
one
trying
out.
to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
By the
It
way,
makes you realize.
growing up in Jersey in the 80s, we fought.
Yeah.
And like
You had great
I
musicals,
don't,
too.
I don't trust someone who's never been in a fight.
Of course not.
I don't.
They had the loudest mouth.
Yes.
I don't trust it because you have to know what it is. Because that guy got punched by Tyson the other day. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
He threw
consensus.
a water bottle at him or something? Who
No,
throws
just
a
being annoying.
water
Just being a
bottle?
dumbass.
He seemed pretty happy about it.
He's pumped.
He was pumped.
pumped.
No, but on a serious note, I think I'm really excited for this generation. I think they've really got it. They've figured out a lot of tough things, including, wait a minute, I'll just make $50,000 doing content or selling NFTs or doing garage sales. Like, I'm not going to do something that makes me miserable. They've already beat everybody.
And it's like more okay
Yeah.
now. Like parents are saying, is college canceled?
yeah.
College is fucking canceled.
College is on it's not canceled.
Yes.
College is on defense, and they haven't begun to figure out what to do to turn the tide. It's insane that we're this close from. There's one more generation of parents under me. You guys. Well, you may not, but like, yeah, but like,
We'll see if that happens.
it's very, but the person that's 25 to 32 right now that's about to have kids is going to be wildly open in 18 years to not have their kid go to college.
You know what they need to do? They need to watch our ex-co-host's documentary on the education reform. I think there's finally.
I was going to say, so like this all starts with education. I was looking at there's like 18 philanthropic pursuits in general that, there's a bunch, but they can be like categorized in 18 different categories. And I was kind of just skimming and seeing which one I'd like to
Get involved.
sink my teeth into once I start to climb my second mountain. And education reform seems like the most obvious because it will stem the solution for the rest.
I think education is a macro conversation, not a micro execution called school.
Yeah.
Like, to me, first of all, a lot of what we talked about here and where I see things going, we're starting to have much better conversations around emotional intelligence. We've destigmatized mental health, massive big win for society, massive. We are now starting to talk about foofy things as alpha things, kindness, compassion, empathy. Dudes did not sit around and
Hell
talk.
no.
Thank you. So that's starting to trickle. And so I think we're starting to educate on the emotional intelligence front. And then on the kind of black and white science, kids are learning on the internet. Like, that's very nice that you go to 7th grade. Like, that 7th grader is going home and learning how to do shit on the internet.
Yeah.
Good and bad. Good and bad. Because
course.
you got stuff coming out with empirical evidence, and then you got stuff coming out where people didn't read the article, and now somebody
that's
believes
different.
that you can drink
That's
marbles
different.
to get your protein.
That's different.
So
That's
I-
your
like,
point.
you know what I'm saying?
That's
It's-
that's a foundational societal thing of headline reading and not giving a fuck. That's called prosperity of a society for too long. We collectively need a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Facts.
The whole country.
To George.
So
with weather.
I'm a little bit on the other side of it. I want, like, when people come up to me like, yo, should I quit college and do this? There's not, okay. I want to make sure I word this carefully. I didn't do good in school because I knew my mouth and my brain kind of like worked in a different way.
Yeah.
But we need these doctors. We need these nurses. We need these.
They're not asking
attorneys.
you the question.
But no. So what?
They're not asking you the question.
What do you mean? What question?
I'll explain. You knew your mouth and your words and your things worked a certain way, and you knew the answer was no for you.
Yeah.
The people that are going to be the doctors that you want, they're not rolling up to you and me and asking if they should go. They're just going.
Exactly.
Got it? So it's the in between.
okay.
Got it, brother?
Yeah.
It's the in between. And the in between was always told it's a good bet. And my point is, a lot of people should go to college. Like when people
Okay, so
double-
you're not against it completely.
No, I'm
Alright.
against lack of self-awareness, and I'm against the place we were in for the last 30 years where everyone should go
Lack
to
of
college.
choice. Lack of choice.
Everyone
Yeah.
should go to college was the absolute cultural rule.
My view on college
Yes.
was when it was invented, it worked, but they didn't change things.
Correct. Things change.
To-
Like Cryptopunks.
like the world
They're like
changed.
Cryptopunks. They had a great fucking, they really fucking came out hard, got that floor up, and they didn't reinvent, they didn't do anything in the culture, and now they're college.
Quick, wait, how many
is
how many punks you own?
I own 62.
What? Huh?
There's probably not an investment I have that I'm more confident in than Cryptopunks.
Yeah. Over Yugi's? Over fucking Bored Apes?
So Bored Ape for the next 15 years, Vee Friends for the next 15 years. I don't even want to use Bored Ape because I'll use myself.
Got it.
Vee Friends has to execute perfectly for 15 years to even be in the conversation with Cryptopunks, because unlike college, Cryptopunks sits in a collectible art framework of being the thing that established the whole thing.
Mona Lisa. Well,
I mean, that's
even
a-
more.
That's too big, but like if Bored Apes are inspired by apes being a big thing in punks. When things play out in a 30-year window, punks is the only thing I feel safe about.
Well, you got 62, so
That's why I
You're
have 60.
good.
Yeah, I mean, and people are like, well, that's because you have 62. No, I'm like, no. I have 62 because that's what I believe. Like people always have it reversed. Like, yeah, of course. I'm like, no. Like, you know what I mean? So
can
I also, one thing for everybody in NFT land real quick, the biggest mistake happening besides the biggest mistake is bad acting. The second biggest mistake is, for some reason, people think shitting on other projects make their projects that they're invested in are good. Our world is so small in NFT land. I cheer for I want World of Women, Cool Cats, Pudgy Penguin. I want everything to fucking dominate.
Especially World of Women would be nice too.
Hey. Why do you think I got into World of Women?
I know.
No, dude, I want to hear you say it.
Because Gary told you to.
Really?
He said, you should check out this project. When Gary does this to you, check this out. Fucking listen. Like,
Go
listen.
to your bank account,
You
just empty
crushed.
it out.
You got a goddess. You sold it. What happened? You crushed.
Now he's got a
goddess.
champion on the Galaxy side.
Yeah, I know. I got very lucky in that
You
project.
did really well.
Can I pick your brain about
Yeah.
the metaverse?
I think it's a hair early.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, so for example, I'm obsessed with the concept. I think Meta, like right now, the stock market's getting killed from growth companies. Every stock I own, I invested in a company pre-IPO. My entire Wall Street portfolio is companies I invested in when they were startups. They went public, and I still believe in them, and I hold on to the stock.
Holy shit.
So I never buy Wall Street. It's just not something I get passionate about. It's a good game, just like real estate. I don't really like real estate. I like alternative investing, and I like building my own companies. That's how I like to roll. Back to self-awareness. By the way, real estate and Wall Street are good things to put your money in.
Yeah.
Historically, it just doesn't get me going.
Right.
Nonetheless, I've been looking at Meta lately because all the internet stocks are getting crushed because now Wall Street wants profit because of the way the world is. And I'm like, man, if people understood how far along Meta was with Oculus compared to anything else that's happening in it, everything that's metaverse right now is like, yeah, go to your browser and play in HTML5. It's not actual meta. Like the hardware, just like the iPhone, My biggest thing, I used to really get passionate about this. You know this. I used to be like, I literally had conversations with Mark Zuckerberg way back in 2011, 12. I'm like, dude, you need a phone. You need a TV. The hardware's the moat.
Wait, what?
Wait, Gary Vee, did you invent the iPhone?
Nope.
Because you told Logan to buy World of Women and Punks, and now you definitely told Zuckerberg to invent an iPhone.
No,
like, just take the fucking credit.
I told him actually, to your point, it's a little later, 15 seconds. Facebook was building a monster. And I was like, dude, you don't control the thing that controls it.
Yeah.
Go buy Samsung, which is probably too big. Nokia, go buy Nokia and do something. And I think it's playing out now. Facebook's business has been hurt because of iOS update 14.5. So to me, whoever owns the thing then puts the software inside.
But this one feels different. This one feels different because Meta is such a departure from everything that we know to an extent, where it seems like the hardware can just be an attachment after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's not how
you don't
I see
think
it.
you don't think so?
No, I see it as whoever wins the hardware game,
Really?
actually wins it, will have a huge advantage, and all the software will run through it.
Really?
I do. Think about what you have to do. You have to put on the thing, right? You have to put on the thing.
Do you, or can you sit at a desktop and use Metaverse?
That
doesn't feel like the metaverse.
That's 1996.
Yeah.
Like who gives
The one-
you know what I mean? Like the metaverse that everyone's talking about is immersive. And we live in a metaverse now. It's called the iPhone. We're fucking in it all the time. But where it's gonna go is gonna be fucking crazy. Talk about, when I see the whole Puerto Rico thing, this, that, nomads traveling, I'm like, man, wait till the metaverse hits. We really actually could be any fucking, we're already there with Zoom. With just Zoom and Google Hangouts, all of a sudden everyone can be anywhere. Just that. When the metaverse comes, it's fucking gonna get crazy.
How long until you put those?
My intuition, this is, so why I have this good career. I love when I get viral for being right about something, and inevitably, back to the way the world works.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
I know. I see what you're doing. This is why I'm saying this story. Oh, a fucking clock can be twice
Twice
a day.
yeah.
I was like, cool. Once in a while, I jump in. I'm like, cool. One good thing about what I do is we document everything. Thrilled for you to show me the receipts of where I was wrong. The reason those receipts don't really have a lot of heat is because I don't go hard until it's already happened. So the official answer is I have no fucking idea. My guess is it's more than 5 years for it to be at a scale that gets us all going. That it actually at scale, like millions of people are in there where you want to go, where you come home, you grab a beer and you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like
it still feels a little gamery now.
For sure.
I'm not a huge gamer, but the world, the metaverse excites me.
Sandbox.
I mean, that stuff's gonna be. Talk about how fun gaming is gonna be when they get it going.
Just for
When I can
we
finally,
did that thing.
like, I can box Logan in Oculus.
I did a sparring match with my Oculus on, and it was legitimately like actual sparring. I was exhausted. I will say I tied, which is a whole nother I tied in the game.
you can't even win in a fake world.
That's what I said too.
Fuck.
Are you ever gonna box again?
Yeah, I have to.
Go back to wrestling.
Oh, you
Why
got
do you
those
have
flying
to?
splits.
It's so fun and it's
Love it.
cool. Yeah, and I'll do more wrestling as well.
Are you and bro on the record like the Klitschko's were from day one that you'll never fight each other?
No,
You would fight each other.
maybe.
In the metaverse.
That
Maybe.
is for real.
Maybe.
The parents don't want it.
The parents don't want it.
They don't
that
want
makes
it at all.
why in the world?
Fuck
would
the parents. If you want it, then you go out and get it. Fight your brother.
Is that you being Gary?
That was so bad. I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was Mike Tyson too. I thought it was Mike Tyson.
If the parents want it, go out and get it. Oh, fuck.
That was horrible.
Well, I thought you guys would get it because he says
I was
fuck
like,
the parents.
Mike Tyson just punched the shit out of him. I literally right now was scared. I was like, I don't know if I would do that Tyson right now.
If the parents want it.
maybe.
I think if you guys fought, if you guys did it right, and your brother does the wrestling promo, like your brother really knows what he's doing in
The boxing pro, yeah.
So he's putting his money on your
yeah,
brother.
Yeah, I just love
fucked
calling
up.
him. Like Jake, like really knows how to make people interested, and that's a big promoting is real, and he does such a good job at it. We were at Nick's game, I didn't know he was coming. He sat by me and we were talking about it. And I'm so proud of how he like thinks about that. And then obviously he's really put in the work to be able to do what he's doing. But I do think that if there's even a real possibility, you should definitely do it.
Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Couple things. If deep in your soul you think you're going to lose, you should definitely not.
No, I think I'm going to win.
Okay, then you should definitely do it.
Oh, okay.
If you definitely believe that in your soul, that you're going to win, which makes sense to me because I always believe, and I actually mean this, I think there is a subconscious mental advantage an older brother has.
yeah.
100%.
But I think that's what's going to be gassing Jake, bro. His whole life.
100%. It's everything to Jake.
Bro, I
It's
think he actually
everything.
would bite your ear.
No. It's everything to Jake.
Back to Tyson.
But for Logan, he like, who wants it? Like, it would be so big.
That's why it excites me. I don't think it is replicable on a scale
not.
like this
It's not.
ever.
It's
Like
not.
ever. That's like some history in the making in the textbook shit. And that excites
I
me.
grew up a very big boxing fan. Very big. And when the Klitschko's were coming up, because I was really into it, like I knew they were coming, I would like once a week with my buddies who didn't give a fuck because boxing wasn't popular enough. I was like, if these two brothers ever fight, and that would have not been, you guys would have more eyes on it just because of the nature of where the world is now. I really need you guys to do it. I need it for me. I would be so nervous.
At Jet Stadium.
I would be so.
Imagine my parents.
I would be so nervous.
That'd be crazy.
Because there's just something like unnatural about it. Like it would fucking blow.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up, but we're not maybe the most sane people. Like,
I'm just scared it would affect you guys in real life.
no, bro. We're fucking brothers.
No.
We've been through it
It
all.
would-
on the
100%
record.
would.
On the
would.
record.
Every
Oh my
Thanksgiving,
God.
bro.
On the record.
loser,
It would?
bro.
On the record. I don't
Every
know you well
Thanksgiving.
enough, but I find you both pretty damn competitive. I've known you guys for a long
I don't
time.
give a fuck.
Who wrote the first check into Team 10? You know,
I was going to say, was that your worst investment ever?
probably. No. I've lost a lot of money. I will tell you right now, if AJ knocked me out in front of the world, I'd never come back from it. Ever. I just couldn't.
You shouldn't. How are you going to motivate people when you can't even like?
I couldn't come back from it.
Yeah.
By the way, they
Another
know. By the way, they know that. They know that.
That's
Neither
how
of them.
the
Neither of them wants to get knocked out.
I'm
by them.
already nervous. Like I get very
Talking
nervous
about it.
before big fights. The only thing that gets me fully in sports butterflies are overtime playoff hockey, game 7, and fights. Something about it.
I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is.
It's a suddenness. It's a suddenness.
It makes you present.
It's the suddenness.
It's
One
anything
goal,
can
that's
happen.
it.
100%.
One punch.
How many things
Jake's last
truly
fight.
ground you?
Jake's last fight. Like
Yep.
I really watch fights. I mean, we have a big UFC practice. Do you know that Vayner Sports represents O'Malley?
Oh,
Sean O'Malley?
Yes.
Shut up.
we love
You didn't know that?
Shut up.
Yeah, Vayner Sports.
Oh,
we have a
man.
big UFC practice.
Oh, that's
Aljamain
cool.
Sterling won that big fight.
No
against-
way.
We rep Aljo. So we have a big UFC
Oh,
practice
cool.
at Vayner Sports. So I just watch every Saturday night. I'm watching a fight.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
UFC. Our people,
Yep.
people watching the sport because we're so deep into it.
Yep.
And then boxing. I love boxing much more than a normal person. So it's exactly what it is, and that's why I brought up overtime hockey. Overtime hockey is one. It's why I fall in love with the World Cup. And soccer, at 1 second, soccer, like you could still come back and score, but like overtime hockey, my teeth chatter. Like a game I don't even really care about a lot. I get nervous because it's that split second.
Yep.
Jake's last fight, like as the fight's going on, like, you know, you kind of got lulled into it, like especially because they already fought. I'm like, okay. And then boom.
Yep. All of a sudden it's
And there's
over.
nothing like that feeling. That 0 to 1,000, there's nothing like it.
Damn, the table's been set.
That's
in a
crazy,
major
Gary.
way.
That's crazy.
He's right too. I mean, that's a big bag and a big fight.
Well, it's not about the bag. It's about drive. It's about power.
That's it.
We stay hungry.
It's actually
we
it's not,
devour.
it's not about that. It's actually
He goes,
it's not about that. It's not about that.
The Rock just storms through the wall. It's not about what?
I'll tell you what it's about. Why it's really fascinating is only those two know. And what I mean by that is something nobody else knows.
100%.
Like one moment 13 years ago.
Took the last toaster shirt off.
But not that mundane, which is actually why it's so intense.
Took his
The reason-
girlfriend, Alyssa Violet. It's all over a list.
Oh, you don't give a fuck. But no, all of that would be and on top of that, imagine the first fight goes down. Now we have the second one to see like what the nail in the
Just
coffin is.
calm down.
Yeah,
All
what do I
this
do?
is
A
all. This
trilogy?
is all just. It's
money.
It's
We
fairy
get it.
dust right now. It doesn't exist.
Fugazi.
I hear you.
Fugazi.
Why'd you pass on Uber?
I passed on Uber because I passed on Uber because Travis and Garrett. So the person who obviously everybody knows Travis, the person that came up with the idea for Uber and was a co-founder. The 1A took Travis's 1B, though Travis was the operator, which makes him the 1A based on what we were talking. But the human being that invented Uber was Garrett Camp. Garrett Camp, this one might hit everybody in this room because it's a younger crowd. Garrett Camp invented StumbleUpon.
Oh no! Oh my God! I loved StumbleUpon. Shut
what is
up,
that? What is
bro!
that?
You'd put your interests in. You'd hit randomize, and it'd serve you a website with like I don't know
Anything.
doodles or like wood sculptures or like
This is the guy who
rugs.
came up with getting strangers to pick you up at your house.
That's
Oh
right.
my God! I love that app.
Because you would stumble upon a driver and
you
you would
love
just get into the
cynicism?
car with them.
Cynicism?
Yeah.
Don't use words I don't know. Don't use.
So like half of the English dictionary.
Oh, it's because I'm new to this country, huh, asshole?
You're not doing this country.
Shirt.
Turned it into an immigration thing.
So I had just, it's actually really interesting.
Kevin, that hit Kevin at home. He starts laughing.
It's really interesting why I passed on Uber. All cliche things that I try not to do anymore. After we started VaynerMedia, wanted to do all sorts of things, but I was always building for my dad. So now I have this new freedom. I'm doing something else. And now I decide to do all sorts of things. I bought a wine social network called Corked. I don't know if you guys know what Dribbble is. Creative people, like Dribbble is an incredible site. We had a competitor to it for developers called Forest that I did with Kyle. Lindsay and I did Corked. So now I have Vayner, Corked, Forest. And Corked and Forest both failed because I tried to eat too much cake. I tried to do too much. And the people that I had running them, I promised that I could help them too much. They were too green. As I've gotten older, back to operations, why I think I can scale, I'm like, wait a minute. I can be the sprinkles, but I need somebody to build the cake. I can't build the cake for them. And so they were too green. They couldn't get there. And I didn't have the bandwidth between Wine Library. And then I wrote Crush It and my whole career changed. So I had fighting on too many fronts. Because those two things failed as side project businesses, and I had just done it, a couple years later when Garrett and Travis decided to do Uber, it was a side project
For them?
for them.
Oh, and that upset you.
It was called Uber Cab first, and they hired Ryan Graves, the first CEO of Uber, found out about Uber through a tweet I did to share the job listing. It's an insane story.
That is
So
fucking
because
nuts.
it was their side hustle and I had done that, number two, it was the least liquid I'd been in a long time because at that point I just bought my first apartment.
timing.
Timing.
Fuck.
Yeah. And so I've learned from that. You know, I tell myself now I've done really well in NFT. The reason I've done so well with NFTs is because I'm betting on jockeys, either the artist or the operator. And I'm like, I'm done doing anything else. And that's what's working for me. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my life.
I just talked to Alex today about the investment that we're looking at, and he said I said I like the guy. He said, so you're betting on the jockey, and he said, I love that.
And I'll tell you what can really work. If you bet on the jockey, especially if they're younger, if you're strategic, they may lose, and then you have a chance to actually win on their second thing.
They'll get you in early because you were.
A lot of kids that are, a lot of youngsters that are going into this chapter where you have money to invest. So for the people that are investing right now, talking a little different crowd, the mistake I see a lot is you believe in the jockey, they fail because they're 24 and it's their first rodeo, or even 30 or 35, and you don't bet on them on the next thing, and that next thing happens. Before Ev Williams and Jack, but Ev Williams, when Twitter first hit, it was Ev and Jack, not Jack Dorsey. And Ev had just failed with something called Odeo because he was going to build a podcast platform, but Apple came out. And a lot of people made money with Ev before because Ev's first company was called Blogger, the blogging platform that he sold to Google. But a lot of the people that invested in Odeo didn't invest in Twitter because Odeo failed. Bet on a jockey, unless they do something that's fraud, watch how they evolve and keep betting on that jockey because you can make it all back on the third one.
That's cool.
relationships.
How many Vee Friends Series 1 do you have?
When those so what had happened was no hold
Because
on.
I've been listening here today. Here's what I've heard. I'm a heavy investor in NFTs.
late late to the game.
That's fine.
Very late to the game.
I only bet on jockeys. How about this one? How many V2 Vee Friends, which were just
Well, and
2
then I
cents
spent
this last-
$716,000 last week on an ape. So okay, yes, I'll get some today. I'll buy this.
You're
jockey.
gonna get the men
Thank
text.
you so much.
I'll back this jockey.
Man.
And by the way, you have a lot of my favorite men in that text. I'm good friends with Banks as well. And I was on a call with you one time. We didn't get to talk about play to earn today, but Wolf game.
Yep. Yep.
which you went crazy on.
You know what's funny about that? Do you know why I tell everybody not to? By the way, Wolf Game, AJ called me. We were talking yesterday. Wolf Game has been so innovative.
Yeah, for sure.
This last game, I'm like, that's like fucking Zelda. Like, wait, I can burning the bush in Zelda in 1986 was the greatest thing of all time. Because video games didn't let you pick and choose shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can do the candle here and I can go down this thing and I can push the boulder.
Yeah.
So what they just built, they've been really innovative. But one of the reasons I thought they were creative, and I did bet heavy, you're right. But the reason I keep telling everybody, please do not buy what I buy. One of the reasons I bought Wolf Game so heavy was like, this feels very innovative. I want to stay close to this project.
And the space.
The space, I'm definitely,
Right.
but this project, I'm going to stay close to this one because they're going to do some things that I might want to do for Vee Friends.
Got it.
And so this is why I'm like, keep telling everybody, I'm like, look, I bought 8-Bit the other day because I've known Addison, the artist, since he was an intern or junior designer at dig.com for Kevin Rose 15 years ago. Wow. And I tweeted a smiley face at him on Saturday because 8-Bit was going viral. And his reply, and I went to go DM him. The last time I DM'd him was in 2009. Damn. And I went to DM him. This is 13 years ago. I go to DM him. And he said, this blew me away. I just sent him a tweet, smile. He replies, Gary, it's so crazy. I vividly remember you and I talking about Walt Disney, seeing what you're doing is cool. And so back to what you were at, when you were saying, hey, I bet we didn't finish that whole energy. D-Rock will tell you, Vee Friends has been in the work for the last 5 years. I was going to come out with something called Workplace Warriors 5 years ago, which were going to be desk toys, because I was getting so many emails from people saying, I hate my job. And I was like, you know what? I was walking around my office one day after, this is how everything works for me. Read another DM of another person that says, Gary, what do I do? It's 1:13. I hate my fucking boss. I can't fucking do this anymore. And I'm affected by reading this shit. I go to take a piss in my office and I walk by all these people working for me and I look and every one of them has Simpsons, has South Park, has all these Batman, right? And I'm like, you know what? All these people email me and DM me mainly during the day when they're pissed. Why don't I make some characters? Because I love toys and tchotchkes, collectibles. You know how I roll. I was like, let me make something called Workplace Warriors. Maybe if they see Patient Parrot, I called it, I made it a panda eventually. Patient Panda, right? Or maybe if when their boss is like, you're a dick, and they look at that and be like, you're a dick. I was just trying to think of that. So for me, I know for the world, this all seems new. How am I going to do this? This shit's been cooking.
No, it's always been in there. And how it happened to manifest was Vee Friends.
That's right.
It's cool.
I never knew what an NFT was going to be.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how it was going to manifest.
The medium is perfect for it.
But I always knew what I was building with VaynerMedia, which was I'm going to build a marketing infrastructure that I can deploy against actual businesses, not a client service business, an operating system. And it's starting to fucking come together.
Yeah, you stole my dev team.
Sorry.
Do you ever get
sorry was so unapologetic. Yeah, no fucks.
no.
Business is business, bitch.
He's an assassin, dude. He said, he killed me.
He kills old people.
He killed me. He killed me. He killed my launch date. Fuck. Listen, do you ever get flamed for your poor investments, especially in the NFT space?
No, because I'm also not a day trader like 99% of people. I'm buying things that
Then why didn't you buy On One Force?
Why did I?
Didn't you?
Because I missed it. And you know what I did? I bought the artist collaborations that he made a month before about Bored Apes. Did you see that?
The artist of Own One?
Yeah.
He's very good.
He's very good.
He's very good.
Yeah.
I really like him a lot.
I loved that project. It really was a shame how it...
Here's the problem with all these projects, which is it's too early. Again, everybody has to play with money they can afford to lose. The reason I say this is you're guessing right now. We're just forming all of this. Having a good week on OpenSea means nothing. You have to build a company. Even Vee Friends, who has a track record operator, even Bored Ape, which is the dominant leader, even World of Women, which is the dominant leader in that genre. It's just too early. It's only 1 year.
That one was weird though.
Which
that
one?
The own one or whatever.
Well,
I mean,
it was a preview. There's been a lot of things that have gone phew, phew. Since
to
then.
to that level.
Yeah, there's been some others. I mean, I've been very out of the game the last 4 or 5 months because I've been literally waiting for this moment today. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of projects.
Like what's going on with what's it called right now? The number one mover.
Moonbirds?
Yeah.
Well, Moonbirds is an easy one. Like to me, that's for me, Kevin Rose is what I'm telling everybody I am to them.
Right.
I've seen Kevin operate for 15 years. That feels to me as like one of the things that I'm most bullish on. Here's why. You know who you want to bet on? If you know somebody well enough to know that they're scared to have their reputation hurt. Kevin will work on that for the rest of his life just to make sure it's not that's back to like we were talking about bad behavior. You really nailed it. What I'm really upset about is I see a lot of young 22, 25, 29-year-olds that have it. And they're so addicted by the short-term need that they're willing to compromise their reputation in perpetuity for $3 million of ETH right now. And it's too bad.
You know anyone like
Pride over progress. Biggest death.
Yeah.
People,
I mean, we know a lot of people.
Pride
like
is
that, for
actually
sure.
at least a pretty world. I actually think it's short-term. I mean, Coachella just happened, right? I'm sure you boys had a nice time.
I was at Easter like a good Christian.
I threw up on my crush.
Good. And so, you know, on that note,
I pissed in a cup
I forgot about
in front
that.
of 10,000 people.
so I think on that front, you know, there's a lot of people who literally the weeks leading up to that event in NFT land, I was watching people literally compromised compromised themselves for $20,000 because they needed to go hard at Coachella.
You know what the main problem with Pride is?
You wrestling with it?
No, it's that the D is not an M. Drink Prime, motherfucker. Yo, let's go. Let's go, dude. Sorry. Have you tried Prime?
No,
Gary.
I haven't tried it.
Bet on the jockey, Gary.
Well, who's the actually? Let's talk about that.
Well,
who's
okay.
the jockey?
There's two main ones, and then a third one who
Good.
I
Who are
don't
the
know
jo-
if he'll be named on this show.
That's fine. Who's the jockey?
He shall not be named.
Who's operating the business for real?
There are two of them, and I bet on those jockeys, and they are the best in the business. And it's why our product is
delicious.
doing so well.
I
Thank
like
you. Thank you.
That
and
was the
and it's
fastest
healthy
we
for
had
you.
so far. Just
Well,
popped it
it's-
open, drank it.
It's Gary, dude.
I like it.
Thank
I
you.
like all sorts of sugary shit.
There's only 2 grams of sugar.
I'm sure, but there's some other fucking.
No.
You've got something in here,
No.
What you're tasting is sucralose.
right?
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
You ever do cocaine?
Never.
You ever?
I've never done cocaine. I've never done a drug in my entire life. My mom got so Nancy Reagan'd out
Dare.
in the 80s. Yeah, I never have.
No weed?
No weed.
Acid?
You've never smoked weed?
I have not.
Whoa.
And I went to like my college experience. Huge shout out to the Mount Ida boys. My friends smoked 7 blunts to the face every day.
Yeah.
And you did not join them.
I promised. My mom sat me down when I was like 15 or 16 and was like, promise me you'll never do drugs. And I said, I promise. And I was locked and loaded.
Was that the only
man.
thing? Because I had it too. My mom was no motorcycles, no guns, and no tattoos, but she left the heroin out.
Got it.
And I went straight. I'm like, Ma, you fucking didn't tell me. And I went straight to it, bro.
I've never done drugs. And so I just
How often you get pretty drunk?
drunk, never.
Really?
No.
I hate
So
drinking.
it's all the same game for me. I don't think I like the feeling of not knowing exactly what's going on at every second.
Oh man.
But then how do you? But then
We are me, dude. I love you so much.
An older,
This is
more
really,
successful, less
really
Middle Eastern version of
This
George.
is so awesome. Watching you be so successful and have such a strong mindset of being you is so refreshing. Because people say that shit to me all the time. Like, dude, we love how you stand up for what you believe in. Even the people that don't believe in what I believe in, it's so rare.
You know
to
what's
watch
awesome
people,
though? But what I also like is like the thought of like judging people in either way. Like is so weird to me. Like, you know, a lot of people have gotten so much healthier. Like my dad's super pissed. He's like rapping. He's not like, you know, he's like not like, it's so funny. He has a wine store, a liquor store. He's like, it seems like the cool people don't want to drink anymore. Right? Like the health trend.
Okay,
Like he
okay,
was-
okay,
you
okay.
know,
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. And he's like, I read this
Alright.
thing. These girls, they say they drink mocktails now. I'm like, he's always like worried that like the whole, like I'm like, Dad, calm down. You're gonna retire just fine. It's gonna be fine. It's fucking alcohol.
He's always gonna be
but
drunk.
you know, yeah, exactly. But You know, it's interesting, like watching the last 5 to 7 years, a lot more people are willing to say at like 7, 10, 15 person gatherings, like I don't drink. And like watching people like want them to drink. I'm like,
Oh
why?
yeah, that's fucked.
But it goes both ways. Like to me, like I actually am very happy with the conversation we're having with drugs, meaning psychedelics, mushroom. I mean, I probably, if I was to ever, I think there's so much profoundness to fungi, like just scientifically and like curiosity. I think there's a lot going on in that world. And so I just, you know, I think everything and anything and everything in moderation is right. It's always too far into extremes is where things get dangerous. But yeah, I've always been unbelievably comfortable of like, yo, this is how I roll. I know that a lot of people, especially in their teens and 20s, like that's when it was like ridiculous. That's when I knew I was set. By not succumbing to any peer pressure in high school and college, I was like, I'm a beast. If I really don't give a fuck now, what the fuck is going to happen later?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't do any of the first time I smoked weed was 25, and I asked my parents. I sat them down with a joint. I was like, "Hey, this is the statistics. Like, this is what I want to do." Worst decision I ever made in my life.
Why? Because they smoke weed now?
No, none of them smoke weed. The
You
battling
smoke
of
weed?
quitting is
was hard.
I have an addictive personality. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of relatives of mine have lost their life to gambling, drinking. That's why,
Yeah.
like, when these guys do things, I sit them down and I go, "Yo, like, you guys going too far with it. Like, I can't stop myself from doing what I want to do."
Yeah, I get it.
I don't give a fuck about what you guys want to do. If I want to do it and it's bad for me, I've never been caught in this situation, and it's a bitch.
I don't often get influenced by my peers in a way that like affects actual change.
Yeah.
Even like the thought of like being influenced. But I will say when we were in New York and we were talking at that table and like, I'm pretty sure I was high. I was definitely like drinking like espresso martinis, my favorite drink. And then I think I asked you like, yo, Gary, do you ever have fun? Like throw a drink back. You're like, you know, not really. And you were definitely like taking it light that night. I was like, man, like I want to be as successful as Gary, but is this what it takes? Because if so, fuck that, dude.
It's definitely not. And by the way, like I'm like, to me, for like the reality is like it's all one big game of just knowing who the fuck you are for you. And like there's people that are. A coach told me in a current NFL coach took a player in a draft recently, last year's draft, that he could have taken a player that they had way higher on the draft board as a much better player, and they took the other player. And I was like, that's so interesting. I was like, we were getting into deep conversations around athletes and things of that nature. I said, why? And then he said something profound. He goes, this player that went to a different team, a couple picks later, had a great year. He goes, this player on a Saturday night, the day before a game, will go out. And he'll go out to 2:30 in the morning in the club.
Oh, wow.
And you know what he's going to do on Sunday? And I'm like, what? It was like really cool. I was like shit the bed? He's like, no. He's going to go 8 catches for 137 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I go, okay. He goes, the problem is that same Saturday night, he's going to bring 6 teammates with him. And those 6 guys are going to shit the bed. I'm like, the player we took is the 8th player in that story, and he's going to stop the other 6 from going out.
Whoa. He's playing chess.
And so to me, I just thought that was really interesting. And the reason I bring that up is that one kid that he was talking to, he can go party and fucking be productive, right? This is just about knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody who's watching and listening right now, this is one big fucking game of being super dope with yourself, for yourself. And if the people around you don't fuck with that, fuck them.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's a great spot to end.
Yeah.
If you're okay with it.
I'm very okay with it.
This was a fantastic podcast,
Thank you,
dude.
brother.
So glad we got you on. Seriously, thanks for coming
having
on.
me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, guys. Go check out Vee Friends Series 1 and 2.
I got to do that right now.
Mike's gonna do it when we get home. Follow Gary on Instagram and Twitter, just at Gary Vaynerchuk. Too many
Not true.
syllables.
Gary
Vee.
Gary Vee. Oh, perfect.
Not
Thanks
true.
for
Perfect.
now.
Yo, that was a fantastic
Thanks a lot,
podcast.
deep friend of many years.
Thank you all for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing, joining us on this journey. It's so much fun. Hopefully you took a little value or wisdom from this episode. Use it in your life and comment below what you thought of the episode. We will see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.